opportunity you get to obviously see the landscape here, to be out on the trails. It's such a unique experience. You're not going to be able to do that on a daily basis. You know, you get a lot of people that come to Switzerland. It's obviously a high tourist destination, places you would never be able to see. So Swiss Alps is, as we know, such a beautiful part of this world, the mountain range, and that we give the people the opportunity to enjoy.
The Epic Series is the top of the game of mountain bikers all the world.
Good morning and welcome back to the 2024 SPAR Swiss Epic. It's stage 3 today, marking the halfway point in this unique test of endurance, resolve and skill, all under the spectacular backdrop of the Swiss Alps. We're in the Graubünden region. It is sure to be another day of grueling climbs, exhilarating descents for the riders, and we get to witness it. The staggering beauty, the perfect antidote to the physical demands of mountain bike racing. Two-person teams featuring top professionals, ambitious amateurs, all exploring the seemingly endless magical trails. Yesterday, Le Puente de Vos, it was the Queen stage. Today, the adventure continues, and stay with us as we dive into another day of intense racing, picture book landscapes. And I'm here with Dario Linder. My name is Neil Gardner. Dario, you know this region like the back of your hand.
Yeah.
We're looking forward to another day.
Yeah, it's going to be a beautiful day. So it's pretty warm up here. So the temperature goes up to 22 degrees. Sunny in the morning, some clouds in the afternoon, but it stays dry. Perfect conditions for a perfect day out there.
We had some rain early on in the week, and the people were looking up at the skies, especially the riders looking up at the skies, a little bit concerned about what lay ahead. But it looks like the clouds have wrung out all of the water,
Yeah,
and
definitely.
And we're ready to enjoy another day. The conditions play a big role, of course, in a race like this, because today we're at 1,700 meters.
Yeah, 1,600. Yeah, something around that. They go up and down the whole day. So yeah.
Right, and then they'll be reaching the high point of the race is well above that. We've seen altitudes of 2,600 meters yesterday at Scaletta Pass. It was high up there. We saw some amazing images, some footage of the riders breaching the top, and weather conditions a bit different up there, but still no less spectacular. Today, what's your prediction for the race?
Wow. I'm looking forward for the cross-country races, because today is an up and down during the whole day. So we can see the start is here in Davos.
And yeah, the route, this is an overall view of the route. It's a new route every year, and it's famous for the mountain passes, iconic flow trails. We started in Le Puente Bike Kingdom, heading towards Davos, visiting Kur. All along the way, some magical single track. 341 kilometers, and 11,450 meters of climbing. Stage 3 showcases the beauty of Val Sarrdasca. 64 kilometers of racing sees cross-country style trails, Davos forests, and thrilling downhill runs into Klosters. This stage has it all. There is a steady ascent to Alp Novai for the beautiful, breathtaking views, and then fast descents and scenic trails around Lake Davos. A bit of a roller coaster, that profile, and slightly different from yesterday. There was a big spike right towards the end of the stage, the finale of a dramatic Queen stage. And today is a little bit more of a mix.
Yeah, it's going up and down during the whole day. Some real nice single trail downhills right in the middle, the Mambiel downhill. It's into the forest, a lot of roots. It's a bit wet in there, so a bit slippery. They have to take care. And the morning started with a downhill as well, so right on. A bit, yeah. No, not first. First, they had to go up this Kolonia-Stutz I told you yesterday. Named after the world-famous 4-time cross-country Olympic champion Dario Colonia, which lived up here. And actually, it's in the cross-country skiing slope, and they have to pedal up there. And it's a real steep one. Another steep wake-up call for all the riders, and then it goes down to Klosters.
And the wake-up call indeed. And Lucas Flückiger, what a way to turn back the clock. Lucas Flückiger has an amazing performance. In fact, Lucas Flückiger riding with John Schmidt, they are lying in third. We have seen for the last decade, in fact, even longer, Lucas Flückiger at the very front end of the field, both in the World Cup circuit and on the marathon circuit. We've seen him win multiple stages of the Absakete, but today's and yesterday and the previous day belongs to the yellow jersey holders, the Samparisis. A surprise performance from them on stage 1, dramatic sprint finish, and they held on to their lead yesterday and still, in fact, gaining time over their nearest rivals. But we did see a resurgent performance from the Wilier Vittoria team. And Fabian Ramensteiner coming good, and that is an ominous rise as they matched the Italians, the Samparisis, pedal stroke for pedal stroke. But not forgetting an amazing performance from the local riders, Mondraker Walter MTB, Kaboom team, Simon, and fantastic performance from them. They were third yesterday on the stage in that dramatic sprint finish that we had for that last spot on the podium. 2 teams up ahead, and the third spot up for grabs. And the team in black did their nation proud. Barendon, Witsum, fantastic performance from them on stage 1. And they had a bit of trouble yesterday. It looked like they were having some technical issues. Dario, you would have spoken to them on the line afterwards, and you would have got an inside view as to what happened to them. But safe to say that they rescued the day, but they did lose time on overall. They are lying in 4th spot. There we have it in writing, the general classification. That is the overall time so far. The Samparisis have a 1 minute and 26-second lead on Specher and Walter, who we saw earlier on the screen in black, and Flückiger and Schmidt in third overall, just a few seconds back. And Barendon and Witsum all within touch of the lead. The top 4 teams are all in contention, but let's not forget the team of Wilier Vittoria. They are on the rise, they are experienced campaigners, and never underestimate the pairing, the experienced combination of Samuele Poro and Fabian Ramensteiner. We're going to treat it to some images of earlier today. This was the start at 8:30 this morning, and lining up the Ciavita yellow jersey wearers, KTM, Alchemist, Brenta Brakes. Samparisis, they are also on the cyclocross circuit and making the conversion extremely seamlessly and dramatically taking the first stage, as we were talking about earlier. And yesterday was for sure absolutely their day, now wearing the yellow jerseys.
Yeah, fantastic performance yesterday. Took the lead quite early. and then get catched up on the downhill from the Scalette Pass by Fabian Rabensteiner and Samuele Porro.
Samuele Porro and Fabian Rabensteiner had a disappointing day. They lost over 5 minutes, and clawing it back bit by bit, they are moving up the rankings. In fact, they moved up 3 places, up to 7th place. 7th place overall for Rabensteiner and Porro. They are 5 minutes and 39 seconds down, but clearly some of the among the strongest teams of the day. And as the week wears on, they'll know exactly how to manage their efforts. And they are very well known for their endurance and well known to come good later on in the week. Still untested in a race such as the SPAR Swiss Epic, the KTM Alchemist Sprinter Brakes team, and they have their work cut out for them. Consolidate, defend, that's the order of the day, surely, for the Italians. And
The amateur jerseys are here, our masters jerseys are here, our mixed jerseys are here as well.
They snake their way out in the neutral zone, out of Davos, and heading onto the trails. And in just a moment, we're going to be crossing down to the line just to see the scenes from earlier today as the women line up for the start.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And with us again today, the veritable Bulls Media e-bike riders, Stefan Sam and Thomas Ditch. They're giving us a rider's eye view of the trails. They are the best placed riders to, in fact, commentate and tell us exactly what's going down on the ground. They see the riders, they can hear the riders, and being racers themselves, Thomas Ditch and Stefan Sam, well-known campaigners in mountain bike stage racing in the Epic Series. And they know racing, they know how to, they certainly know how to ride a bike and keep up with the top riders in the world, carrying broadcast units, beaming their images all around the world. Quick recap of the general classification in the women's category. Monica Calderon and Tessa Kortekas dominant in that orange jersey. The Chevita Leaders jerseys, Cannondale ISP Sport, have a 9-minute and 32-second advantage over Vera Laws, the defending champion, and her partner Danielle Stradom.
Yeah, and the gap gets bigger and bigger day by day. So amazing performance yesterday, amazing performance on the first day. So Monica Calderon and Tessa Kortekas, so the top team of this year edition. The favorites before.
And the Italians were third on stage 1 and lost some time on that final ascent, just the last section of trail before the summit of the Scalette Pass. The Italian team that we just saw, they struggled and lost that 3rd spot overall to the German pairing. But the leaders' jerseys are on their way with a field of riders all aiming to move up the ranks today. It's going to be a fight for sure.
Yeah, and a total different route than yesterday. Yesterday was really hard, real long climb. So the riders now, they feel their legs. They told me in the morning, some of them, wow, their legs are heavy now. And another day of up and down during the whole day. So it's the 3rd day. Some might say it's the hardest one, but yeah.
It doesn't look like the hardest day in terms of terrain, altitude, the length of climb, but we have to consider that it's the day 3 legs. You were just talking about it now, Dario. The day 3 legs is when the real fatigue starts to set in. Day 1 seems to always be one of those stages that's historically we've noticed that the riders all go all out because, of course, they have the chance of wearing that prestigious leaders jersey, and perhaps spending a little bit too much energy. Stage 2 is about consolidating that, and it all really starts to set into the legs on stage 3. It's a common thing. Riders complain about stage 3 legs, and there's still a long way to go. Still 3 stages to ride, and having already passed the Queen stage, a lot of the bulk of the work and the bulk of the altitude climbing has been done. And today they will pass the halfway mark.
Yeah, later on. But as I said before, we're still on high altitude. So we're sleeping up here of 1,500, 1,600 meters. So, yeah, that's a hard thing for some of the riders coming from sea level, and then up here, the body needs a bit to get used to this high altitude. Yeah, after Friday.
We caught up with Tessa Kortekaas and Monica Calderon. Monica Calderon lives in Colombia. She's a native Colombian, and she, of course, lives at 1,1600 meters, so she's well accustomed to these heights. And Tessa Kortekaas lives in Lanzarote, so she has
lower.
She said that she said in the interviews earlier in the week that she would normally take a few days to get used to the altitude and ride herself into the race, and she's done exactly the opposite of that. They stormed into the lead on stage one, consolidated even more, gained more time in their rivals, and they are just under 10 minutes ahead of their nearest possible rivals, with no real challenges coming from any of the other riders. They look very much in charge of this race, and you can see them in front of the affairs right now. No doubt within a few minutes we'll see them, once they're out of the neutral zone, attack the course again. We will have seen, these are images from earlier today, so we do have some time checks live out on the trails, but we'll let the race play out, and we'll be crossing live to the riders in a few minutes.
Yeah, and it's a busy moment at the marathon cross-country racing. So we had the European Championships on last Sunday. Some riders are still struggling a bit with there's that much racing. Some of them are really tired, so just one rest day after a European Championship and then straight into a 5-day stage racing. Yeah, that's pretty hard. We have hard trails up here. They're beautiful, but no time for sightseeing for the top riders. Yeah, a bit of sightseeing for sure, not too much.
Well, I think in the first few days there was absolutely no sightseeing at all. It was tunnel vision.
Whoa.
And is so often the case for the riders. But definitely throughout the week, as the dust settles, as the cards have fallen, and once you could say the pecking order has been established, there will for sure be some time to look around. It's impossible not to appreciate these views straight from the top of a chocolate box, as we say. The most spectacular, some of the most spectacular views in the world, the jagged alpine landscapes. And just a relaxed pace that we're seeing now as the riders roll out on the tarmac section. Just a bit of respite, just getting the legs going, and just getting the effort, getting used to the feeling of their legs going around, and having had a good night's rest for sure. And I've talked about it many times, that mountain bike stage racing is not just about your performance between the start and the finish. It's about what you do after the finish. It's from finish to start is what counts almost as much. The riders going through a very, you could say, a strict recovery routine. As soon as they cross the line, you'll see them drinking their recovery shakes and then going for a massage, perhaps an afternoon nap, and a bit of a debrief as to how the day went, and a briefing for the following day. It's a full-time job. It's full on, and the professionals are showing us exactly what it's done. That's one of the great things about the Epic Series, that the riders get to, whether you're a dedicated amateur or a top professional, you get to feel what it's like to be a professional, where in a race like the SPAR Swiss Epic, everything is done for you. All you need to do is ride your bike, recovery,
nutrition,
repeat.
Yeah, repeat. The 4 hours we said yesterday, yeah. And even for the amateurs, it's even harder, because they come in
later,
much later. So the last team yesterday was around 5:30, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm around there, and there's no time to recover. Straight dinner, cleaning the bike, and yeah. That's a hard thing.
It's all about that recovery, and the amateurs have less time to recover.
Yeah.
And very often they'll miss their traditional lunchtime.
Yeah.
They'll be coming in at 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock. They have to eat then, and the whole rhythm is upset.
Yeah.
And so you could say the pros, even though they're riding at maximum effort, they have it easier.
They have it easier, but some of them told me that the start is quite early for them. So normally the start is a bit later. So we had to start at 8:30. And yeah, the body has to get used to that. Normally you stand up at that time, having breakfast, and then going for an early morning spin. But here, it's not an early morning spin, it's an early morning race. And yeah, you have to get used to that. But we're at day 3 of the 2024 Swiss Epic. And if you have trails like that on the left-hand side, early in the morning, the best thing, better than every coffee.
Yes, exactly.
No, okay, you're the coffee master, sorry. I heard.
I'd hate to take that claim, but definitely a wake-up call for the riders. You can see from the we showed the profile earlier, the exciting jagged nature of it.
Oh, shortcuts, huh?
A bit of a shortcut. It looks like they've reached the section that we're talking about, the Davos Forests, the single-track section. We talked about it being the World Cup style, cross-country style course, and very much so. The riders get to experience. Not much time to, not much space to overtake, and the order has been well established, but there is plenty of time throughout the day to put in maximum effort and to create an advantage. We saw that the riders at the front, the men's field, are all together until quite early on. But we'll be getting some updates on those time checks as soon as we get them. Certainly the top 6 teams, all to play for, all in the game. The Mondraker Walter MTB team, Klimatiza Totemi Kabati, entered in Le Punt, Willier Vittoria Factory team, Bikes Performance, that's the pairing of Flukiger and Schmidt, and the leaders, KTM, Alchemist, Brenta Brakes, all in touch, all still to play for the race. We are still looking down that list. We did see Hans Becking come in over half an hour down yesterday. We expected big things from the Dutch rider and his Belgian partner, Wout Alleman. Seems to be ailing and seems to be struggling after a European Championship.
Yeah, they just told me that on the first day it was Hans, and yesterday it was Wout. So yeah, both of them struggled a little bit, and yeah, they're going for the stage wins now. That's what they said. Hopefully it will turn out pretty good for them. Former stage winners at the Swiss Epic. You can hear the boys, the Samparisi shouting, "Avanti, avanti, go faster, to the other riders. So yeah, nice conversations all the time between the riders. Most of the time it's quite, it's really quiet in a field, but sometimes, yeah.
Especially in a section that narrow, the stakes are high. Obviously, it's really early on in the stage. We're still well and truly before the halfway mark, before the action really starts to happen. We expect the race to detonate around about the 22, the 23 kilometer mark after a short tar climb. They'll be tackling Alp Novai and in the Sarrdasca Valley climb. 3 major obstacles, or you could almost say 4, because the last major obstacle of the day is split into 2 parts after they hit Klosters for the second time. And you can see there on the graphic exactly where the riders have been, and a bit of a summary of what action has been going down with Munoz and Gesche and Samparisi's Special and Volta. Race play out for them, and we'll be crossing live to the riders in a few minutes.
Yeah, and it's a busy moment at the marathon cross-country racing. So we had the European Championships on last Sunday. Some riders are still struggling a bit with there's that much racing. Some of them are really tired, so just one rest day after a European Championship and then straight into a 5-day stage racing. Yeah, that's pretty hard. We have hard trails up here. They're beautiful, but no time for sightseeing for the top riders. Yeah, a bit of sightseeing for sure, not too much.
Well, I think in the first few days there was absolutely no sightseeing at all. It was tunnel vision.
Whoa.
That is so often the case for the riders. But definitely throughout the week, as the dust settles, as the cards have fallen, and once you could say the pecking order has been established, there will for sure be some time to look around. It's impossible not to appreciate these views straight from the top of a chocolate box, as we say. The most spectacular, some of the most spectacular views in the world, the jagged alpine landscapes. Just a relaxed pace that we're seeing now as the riders roll out on the tarmac section. Just a bit of respite, just getting the legs going, and just getting the effort, getting used to the feeling of their legs going around, and having had a good night's rest for sure. And I've talked about it many times, that mountain bike stage racing is not just about your performance between the start and the finish. It's about what you do after the finish. It's from finish to start is what counts almost as much. The riders going through a very, you could say, a strict recovery routine. As soon as they cross the line, you'll see them drinking their recovery shakes and then going for a massage, perhaps an afternoon nap, and just a look at the virtual general classification, the virtual GC we show to show what would happen, where the times would be if we were to stop the race right now. And the Samparisis still have a commanding position in the race over Specia and Walter, Schmidt and Flückiger and Barendon and Witsum, all still in touch with the lead. But we are looking back to Rabensteiner and Poro, who are in touch with the leaders at the moment. And just moving a little bit up on that leaderboard. And Roth and Rurg seem to be struggling today from bikes performance. But they'll be relying on their bikes performance team too. Lucas Flückiger have a 9-minute and 32-second advantage in the race over Vera Laws, the defending champion, and her partner Danielle Stradom.
Yeah, the gap gets bigger and bigger day by day. So amazing performance yesterday, amazing performance on the first day. So Vera Monica Calderon and Tessa Cortecas, so the top team of this year edition. The favorites before.
And the Italians were third on stage one and lost some time on that final ascent, just the last section of trail before the summit of the Scaletta Pass. The Italian team that we just saw, they struggled and lost that third spot overall to the German pairing. But
to lead quite early and then get catched up on the downhill from the Scaletta Pass by Fabian Rabensteiner and Samuele Poro.
Samuele Poro and Fabian Rabensteiner had a disappointing day. They lost over 5 minutes and clawing it back bit by bit. They are moving up the rankings. In fact, they moved up 3 places up to 7th place. 7th place overall for Rabensteiner and Poro. They are 5 minutes and 39 seconds down, but clearly some of the among the strongest teams of the day. And as the week wears on, they'll know exactly how to manage their efforts. And they are very well known for their endurance and well known to come good later on in the week. Still untested in a race such as the SPAR Swiss Epic. KTM Ultimate.
In the morning, some of them, wow, their legs are heavy now. And another day of up and down during the whole day. So it's the 3rd day. Some might say it's the hardest one, but yeah.
It doesn't look like the hardest day in terms of terrain, altitude, the length of climb, but
yeah,
we have to consider that it's the day 3 legs. You were just talking about it now, Dario. The day 3 legs is when the real fatigue starts to set in. Day 1 seems to always be one of those stages that's historically we've noticed that the riders all go all out because, of course, they have the chance of wearing that prestigious leader's jersey and perhaps spending a little bit too much energy. Stage 2 is about consolidating that, and it all really starts to set into the legs on stage 3. It's a common thing. Riders complain about that orange jersey. The Chevita leaders jerseys, Cannondale ISP Sport, have a 9-minute and 32-second advantage over Vera Laws, the defending champion, and her partner. If the Samparisis if they break a wheel or if they have a puncture, they will have the assistance of their teammates close at hand. And it's a well-known tactic of mountain bike stage racing to professionalize the team. We saw that with the Bulls back in 2007. They brought an entire squad, you could say a backup squad, that would enable them to approach the race with a degree of professionalism that would surpass and set the blueprint for the future of the sport. They brought backup teams, they brought support staff, and having a look around the paddock yesterday, we saw the KTM Alchemist Sprinter Brakes team. The setup was extremely professional, and the Samparisis have all they need to succeed at this race.
Guten Morgen.
So we're back with the women's leaders, with the women's today on course. It's the one and only Stefan Sam. Good morning, Stefan. One more time.
Tip-top, merci.
We try to reach Stefan. Stefan, can you hear us now? Stefan is out there with the women's top team. On his Bulls Media e-bike, and we've seen before the leaders of the men's race and the trails from Alp Novai on the uphill. You saw a lot of routes, even the top cracks. They had to walk through this forest part. Yeah, that's a hard one. We can see it's Alp Novai. Fantastic cheese from there, definitely, yeah. So, yeah, we call it Mutschli, the small cheeses. Wow. From this year's edition, they're so nice. Actually, we had to go there, and I have to buy you cheese.
Well, Dario, that's your mission for the day, is to go and find us some cheese from, or maybe we can get a delivery from the area, from the Alp Novai area.
Yeah.
Just catching a really good view of the map and where the riders are on the map, as they are very much well and truly in the they're in the valley now. And just having a look at that time check where they would be. We've seen them past the 26-kilometer mark already, so they're already at Alp Novai and Cannondale ISB Sport. We saw them a moment ago. Calderon and Kortekas have flown the coop again really early on. They're driving home in their advantage on the first major climb of the day, and already putting a 49-second gap into Team Efficient Infinity. Lorza, the defending champion, and her new partner Daniel Stradom. Last year, Lorza won the race with Kim Lacourt, who has since moved on to a road program. Daniel Stradom, a young South African, proving a worthy partner of the experienced Lorza. And third spot out on the trail, riding in a group with a two-person group, a two-team group rather, is Mentekopa Sikli Drigani, having had faltered a little bit on that last climb up to the Scaletta Pass, the very top section, and relinquished their third spot on the stage to Daniela Hoffler and Dalberman, who are over 2 minutes 50 seconds off that leading team. So it looks like 2 minutes back off the team of Mentekopi. So another good day for Zolis and Barata. They'll hope to stay in touch with Lorza and Stradom on these steep climbs. And with One Vision, Concordia, Bergen, the Germans losing time. So yesterday they took third spot on the stage, the Germans, and today looks unlikely that they'll be able to match that performance. And back with the Cannondale ISB Sport, the orange leaders jerseys, the Chief Leader leaders jerseys, proudly wearing them and showing and doing that jersey proud. Driving hard at the front, over 50 seconds advantage so far at the 26-kilometer mark. They still have a way to go. They still have, we could say there's two, potentially three, if you divide the second climb into two big obstacles to go before they reach the highest point in the race at 1,770 meters. A far cry from yesterday's 2,600 meters, the peak at the Scaletta Pass. The Alp that they're climbing today will be just around about 8 kilometers from the finish, and then it's a steep, fast downhill as they head back towards Davos on this beautiful loop course in the Graubünden region, taking in some of the prime trails. Course designer has put together another magnificent route for 2024. Changes every year. Sometimes we do visit similar towns, same towns. The route, when it does change, we take advantage of all of the best trails in the area. And that's what the Epic Series is all about. It's about finding iconic trails in iconic regions and delivering a full-service mountain bike stage race so that amateurs and professionals can enjoy and soak up the hand-picked trails in the area and in some of the most pristine landscapes, and enjoy the Swiss hospitality on their 5-day adventure.
And I'm quite surprised every year about these trails. Most of them I know, and every year Stefan Wolfisberg, the course designer, found another trail which was unknown till the Swiss Epic. So real nice work, and he finds the real nice trails around here. So we're still in this Valley Monbiel. The men's on the left-hand side in this short downhill, and then along the river.
Looking at the picture of the men in the split screen, we've got the men on the left-hand side, women on the right, following Monica Calderon and Tessa Kortekas. And the men have already reached the 37-kilometer mark, and the team KTM Alchemist Brent Brakes team have a slight lead over Willia Vittoria team, who are very much in touch with the Italians, and it has come down to a group of 4 teams who are in contact, having distanced the Flückiger and Schmidt pairing. The 4 teams are KTM Alchemist Brent Brakes, Willia Vittoria factory team, Mondrecker Volta MTB, the 3rd place riders overall, and second on overall, 3rd place yesterday in the stage. And Engadin Lapunt, who fell down to 4th overall, are also in that front group. So all in contention, only 3 spots on that podium. So it'll be a big fight if this continues all the way through, but there's some many obstacles to overcome still. There's a Sarrdasca Valley, there's a Monbiel downhill, going back through Klosters again and up to Lorette, and onto the final climb before they descend into Davos again. Still a long way to go, and the work of BIX Performance, Bikes Performance, is John Schmidt. They've got their work cut out for them. They'll be keen to get back in touch with that group and use their skills. Lucas Flückiger, a well-known campaigner in the mountain bike circuit, both stage racing and at World Cup level, so he's used to all formats, the short course, fast racing of World Cup, and the long game of mountain bike stage racing. Multiple stage winner at the Absa Cape Epic, and riding with his brother Matthias Flückiger, who is still very much an exponent of the World Cup circuit. And great to see the Flückiger names still up and still in lights here at the race.
The good thing is, here's the team manager of the Spikes Performance Race team. 5 minutes before the start, he was doing emails. So I asked him, what are you doing on your cell phone? Oh, some emails. Is that not enough time during the race? No, I had to do it before, because he's the manager, anti-racer, and yeah, it's race office, we call it.
Fantastic. It's great to see him turn back the clock. And,
yeah.
We're missing Thomas Frischknecht here. He's, in fact, another legend of mountain biking. Thomas Frischknecht, a founder of the race. He is so often riding his so-called his home race, and he's the founder. And back in 2014, that's when the race originated. We're now on the 11th edition of the race. Yeah. And Thomas will no doubt put an appearance with at the race. And perhaps on the grand finale, we'll see him on the line.
I don't know, because he's on a gravel trip at the moment. He rode from Zurich, from his home base, down to Milano, and I don't know, probably any further. He has a vineyard in the Toscana, and you never know what he's doing. So at the moment, he's really into this gravel thing, and he does a lot with that, and goes back to his vineyard.
Well, there'll be a big detour from him for him to come all the way to Davos. Be good to see him, and getting a great view of the town of Klosters. We're here at the 21. This is at the 21 kilometer. No, we're at the. This is the women are at the 21 kilometer mark. The men have already passed the 37 kilometer mark. And KTM Alchemist Brent Brakes, the Samparisis. We just saw the glimpse of the team of Bikes Performance. That's Lucas Flückiger and John Schmidt regaining contact. We were hoping that he would get back in contact with that group of 4. And now the select group at the very front of the race is 5. They seem to have distanced Klimatiza Totemi, Kabati, That was at the last time check. So we'll be hoping to get a chance to look back and see where they are on the stage.
This is the perfect part to relax a little bit if you're not the front team. So a lot of teams together now. And we're in Klosters now. Klosters, world famous, especially for the Brits, because no, it's not Prince Charles, it's King Charles again. He used to do his he has his winter flat here, up here in Klosters. They go skiing up here during winter time. So Klosters just a few k's from the falls away. Nice trails around Klosters as well. There's a gondola going up to Gochna. With some real nice man-made trails on the way down back to Klosters, or otherwise you come back down to the falls.
And that's one of the things that characterizes the SPAR Swiss Epic, is that there are those man-made trails with those beautiful berms that you can really trust the trail builder and just let the bike flow. And direct contrast to that, those natural, rugged hiking trails that we saw yesterday on the Scaletta Pass. Really getting a sense of being out there in nature, and both of them are just as much fun as the other in slightly different ways, but it is still just shows the diversity of the trails in the region.
And most of the time we share the trails here with the hikers, and just a short amount of trails is closed exclusively for mountain bikers. Here in the falls, mostly everything is open for everybody, and that's really good. That's really nice. We have no problems up here, and yeah, actually it turns out really good. We call it fair trail up here, and it has to be fair all the time. We're in the nature. Nature belongs to everybody.
It's a great philosophy, and certainly the winners will get a chance to enjoy the nature as they head up towards the latter half of the race. The 20 kilometers to go, under 20 kilometers to go. We're right now at the aid station where the riders will be able to fuel. You see on the right there, those are the prescribed bottles that the professional teams will leave for themselves as they, let's see if they stop. Yes, they will be stopping and grabbing their respective bottles. They've been pre-mixed, pre-loaded for them to exchange and refuel on the stage. There are only 19 kilometers to go, so not a long way to go. Not a huge amount of refueling is necessary to get them to the finish, but it's very necessary to eat for tomorrow. It's a long week, 5 days of racing, and they'll need to make sure that they're keeping their carbohydrate reserves topped up. So when we say they eat for tomorrow, this is exactly what we're talking about. We've just witnessed exactly what it's all about.
So we can see the live stream now, and again the team Barandun and Witstum, they're having a technical issue with their bikes. For the Barandun, yesterday a problem with the brake lever, and today another problem. I had a chat with him right before the start, and he said, yeah, everything is fixed at the bike, everything is good now. And it seems to be that they're having another issue on the last part in this single trail. They've been at the front, and then they had to stop immediately, and everybody had to walk. So I don't know what happened, but the gap is already pretty big. It's more than 5 minutes, and they've been second placed after the first stage, been on the podium yesterday, and now they drop back.
A big shame for them. They showed such a great showing on stage one. The pairing that really the local team, and with the local knowledge that comes with that. It's exciting to see them at the front of affairs this week, but unfortunately they'll be losing some time to their nearest rivals at the 44-kilometer mark, and 44.5 to be exact. They are notably absent from that front five team. The team's roll call is Mondraker, Walter, MTB, lying second, and in second place on the trail, passing through that time check. KTM Alchemist Bench Brakes, the leaders on overall general classification. Wheelier Vittoria factory team, ominous that they are in the group. They'll be biding their time, maybe looking for a last-minute dash, a last-minute attack on that final climb. And Teaser Totemi Kabati, Munoz and Gesha riding a fantastic race today. They are in fourth. And if it stays like this, it's going to be an exciting sprint finish. Bikes Performance, Flukiger, they are back in touch. Engadin Lapunt have not yet passed through that time check. So we'll be waiting to see how they're doing. So it looks like a few minutes has elapsed since the first riders went through that time check. And Barendon and Witsum will need to consolidate, limit their losses today, and fight for another day. Perhaps a stage win if today for them is a no-go, then they'll have to focus their efforts on tomorrow and perhaps even a finale, grand finale stage win.
And this is not just a water station, it's a tech station as well. So with Barendon and Witsum are dropping in, we probably see what the issue is. They try to fix that, some backs with wheels, derailleurs, and everything is ready at this point here at the Grassträchni. Grassträchni means to dry the grass. And you can see Mr. Weber, he's our UCI commissioner on course. He's always on course with the riders, looking after them, looking that everything is good, everything is fair. And at the water station, this is the team at Davos Klosters, is Khalid Sidamet. And Can Whittaker is with Ben Gehrig already on 11th place. So we have two teams from Davos Klosters, this under 23 teams. Their home base is up here in Davos Klosters. And today, it's a stage for them. So the team Davos Klosters, Lies Landenberger and Khalid Sidamet together in a team. Niels Landenberger used to do the Cape Epic before as a young rider together with Nicola Rohrbach, the former winner of the Cape Epic. And here we can see, this is the team Simon Witstum and Fadri Barendon went through the water station. It seems to be everything is perfect with their bikes. So problem is fixed, problem is solved.
Well, interestingly, they didn't go into the tech zone to change a wheel, and very often the conventional wisdom is if they're having problems with the wheel they can't necessarily fix, it is very often a good insurance policy to change that wheel to get a new one on, and then it puts a bit of time into the. It takes time to do this, and it's possible that the riders will lose 2 or 3 minutes in that wheel change. But that also ensures that they will not have any issues with that wheel again. So it's an investment to change a wheel. But the riders of the local boys decided not to do that. They went straight through the aid station, gathered their nutrition, and continued.
So probably Thomas Dietz on his Pulse e-bike knows some insights about what happened with the team Witstum Barendon. Bonjour, Thomas. That's too narrow to talk at the moment. So Thomas Dietz on his e-bike is together with the leading group. In front of him is André Schmidt from Team Bikes Performance. On this, one of the last uphills back from Klosters, along the railway course back to Davos. It's the RHB, it's a world famous line here. On the other side of Davos, it's a world heritage with all the bridges, the tunnels. And once again, we try to reach Thomas Dietz. Salut Thomas.
Salut.
Salut.
Salut, Dario.
So Thomas, just tell me, what happened to Barendon and Witstum? Do you have any insights?
Yeah, on top of the climb, it was a single trail with some roots and rocks, and they crashed. He crashed, and the elbow was quite big open, and yeah, they have to stop. I thought it was a lot of blood on the elbow. Now I don't know. I pass them and I continue, and I go back to the front of the race with some technical pass. What now?
Okay, so a crash from Simon Witztum, or was it for the Barandun?
I go back to the front of the race, technical pass. What now?
Yeah, an e-bike is always heavy to push. So we're in this really steep part. So, okay, good. Yeah, still the leaders together, so yeah, bad luck for the Barandun and Simon Witztum with a crash. We saw them stopping right before there, and everybody stopped there, but we couldn't see if there was a crash or something else. But yeah, the leaders are still together. It's Ramensteiner, Schmid-Flückiger, Munoz-Gesche, Spescia, Walter, and the Samparisis, the brothers, the general classification leaders, back on the way home, tour de force, but it's still a long way to go. Over the next pass, it's the Wolfgang Pass, we call it. And then back into the forest again. Some nice single trails there. And one more time, drama on the stage and some exciting racing. So every day now, it's such beautiful racing.
And it's great to hear from the riders, the Bulls Media e-bike riders. They really see absolutely everything. And great insights that we get from the likes of Thomas Ditch and Stefan Sam. And it all looks from the air and from the our shots, it all looks like everything's a bit relaxed, and you know, the riders are just progressing as they go. But it's clearly fever pitch. A rider like Farringdon wouldn't normally fall off his bike if he was out for a ride to the shops. But it just shows how intense the racing is, that everything is absolutely on the limit. We see the riders traverse the trails, having already passed through Klosters. And they will be tackling more of this alpine mountain biking terrain and the beautiful trails around Graubünden.
And it's no time to relax today. So yesterday we had a real long downhill from the Scalette Pass down, more than 20 k's. And today it's just an up and down. And look, on the right-hand side, the women's leaders are in one of these real hard uphills. And it's a short uphills during the whole day. Accelerating all the time. No time to recover the downhills. Most of them are on single trails, really hard.
We're looking forward to getting a time check with the women. At the last time check at the 26-kilometer mark, the Cannondale ISB Sport women had a 49-second advantage over the next two teams out on the trail. And just Daniel Stradum, Vera Loza having a great day out, and as is Mentekopi Chikli Trigani. 50 seconds right there together with Efficient Infinity. As we watch the pairing of Calderon and Cortacas, a successful pairing at this year's Andorra Epic, having taken the victory. The Colombian.
Oh, another crash here. Probably it's the same part as Witztum and
it looks like
Barandun crashed.
Calderon is the one that's gone down.
Yeah.
They have a gap, they have a buffer. They can just take some time to recover, make sure their bikes are okay, make sure the body's okay. Didn't look too dramatic, but sometimes crashes like that can really, the least dramatic crash can have the most impact. We saw Calderon go over the bars, and just shows how technical it's a slight lapse of concentration. And we'll be getting information just how that might have happened with Stefan Sam, who is following them on the Bulls Media e-bike as the two of them struggle through this section of trail. They Well, no, just to keep patient, just to take stock, make sure they're all right. But it looks like Monica Calderon is back on her bike. No damage done. We'll have to see in the next few kilometers if they have any issues with their equipment. Sometimes just a very subtle fall like that can damage a brake lever or a crank. And even not only just that, we've seen in the past riders damaging a cleat, a mountain bike cleat on their pedals, on their shoes rather, and just struggling to get into the pedal afterwards. The next kilometer or so will be Calderon just taking stock. She's having a look down at her bike. And Tessa Portacross will pull up next to her and just check up, give her a quick look over to see if anything's damaged. Drama for the Colombian.
Yes, we can see the replay now of this crash. It's exactly the same spot as the man had the crash. It's a hard part, a lot of roots, a lot of rocks, and we know it from yesterday. We had a lot of rainfall during the last few months up here, and yeah, the tracks sometimes they look quite different. We have some rock slides, some landslides, and yeah, it turns out that some of the trails are getting rougher and rougher through this weather we had up here. But hopefully she's okay. We tried to reach Stefan Sam out there. Guten Morgen, Stefan. He's in the downhill, probably he's riding too fast. Too much wind in his ears.
No,
Stefan, can
I
you
can
hear me?
You. Yes, I can hear you. I'm with the UCI leading women. Just had that little crash from Monica, but she's on the bike, just regrouping and checking everything out on the bike as well. But so race can continue.
Great to hear that. Thank you, Stefan. Everything is good with the women's leaders after this small crash they had. But yeah, it can affect you pretty much. If you have a crash, you get a bit unsafe on the next one, on the next downhill, and at least they have a nice pack of time with them, so there are no problems in the general classification. And there's still, it turned out completely different at the men's competition when the team Barandun-Witstum crashed, so they're 5 minutes behind. And immediately we will see the crash of Simon Witstum and Frédéric Barandun in a replay. What happened there exactly at the same spot, this real difficult spot above Klosters on the way up. Here we go. Oh yeah. It was Frédéric Barandun who crashed. Simon Witstum had to stop. Yeah, he crashed into this tree. It's limping a little bit at the moment. Need some time to check if everything's okay with the bike and yeah, with himself. We can see his elbow bleeding. Another drama for this guy. He's lost the first stage in a dramatic sprint. And hopefully they're not losing the Swiss Epic today with an injury.
Well, that's what it's all about. It's all about damage management, because these crashes, these incidents, these mechanicals are inevitable over the 5 days. Just so much can happen, and it all comes down to how the riders manage it. And
yeah, mentally.
In the past, there's a mental aspect, and it's also a quick diagnosis. I think the first reaction for any rider that falls is the immediate adrenaline of getting up again, because you have a natural instinct of a racer to get back on again, to start riding again, and that sometimes can be to the rider's detriment, without checking if the bike's okay, without checking if the handlebars are still pointing in the right direction, that the brakes are still attached, and all of those important things. So the best way that a rider can approach it is to take stock, have a look, check the bike, and then continue, because ultimately after the adrenaline wears off, there'll be a bit of a shock that comes. And we saw that's if the rider isn't hurt. Of course, we saw there the rider that crashed definitely seemed like he'd hurt himself. He was limping up that section of trail, and just seemed to be in a little bit of pain there. So hopefully that doesn't bode well for the pairing, but hopefully they'll be able to recover as soon as possible and get back onto the front foot and get back onto the pace. We see in front of us the Samparisis in their yellow jerseys riding at the front. And we'll be able to get across to Thomas Ditch, who will be able to tell us exactly what's happening now on the trail. 15 kilometers to go. The race is starting to reach fever pitch. And this is the decisive point in the race. And around about the 50-kilometer mark, just before the final rise up to the highest point in the race at 1,700 meters, 1770 to be exact. And the current leaders out on the trail, the Samparisis, KTM Alchemist, Brenta Brakes, are having another fantastic day. We did predict that they would defend today, but that does not seem to be the case at all.
Yeah, they're close to the Fos-Larette now, and then it goes down just a short amount of time, and then back up again, this real steep uphill back to the Fos Wolfgang. And these are the leaders. We tried to reach Thomas Dietsch. Thomas, can you tell us something about the race situation? So Samparisis are in the lead all alone.
Gap between riders start to be big, pushing hard. And yes, yeah, I think the second team is already 20 seconds behind.
Thank you. 20 seconds the gap now from the race leaders, the general classification leaders, the Samparisis. 20 seconds to the next chasers, the next chasing group probably. Yeah, Thomas, another outstanding performance of the Samparisis, so they're in a real good shape. Yeah, that's probably the right way to attack now.
Yeah, exactly. They are pushing hard, but the legs are good, I think. The climb is around 8 to 10%, but you can see that they are not really suffering with the legs. They are pushing hard, they are breathing hard, but you feel that it's still power in the legs.
A lot of power left, yeah, after day 3 of the 2024 SPAR Swiss Epic on the way up back to Davos.
Now we do have a time check, but the time check is only at the 45-kilometer mark for the men, the leading men, and that was when they went through Klosters with Mondraker Volta MTB, KTM Alchemist, Willia Vittoria, and Clematiza with Bikes Performance, all the top 5 teams. But we've subsequently seen the image of the Samparisi's attack, and now we're a good 10 kilometers away from that time check as they head up to Lorette. So the second last major ascent of the day, and they'll be looking to keep that advantage. We are following the leaders, the Samparisis, with Thomas Ditch on the Bulls Media e-bike, giving us a quick update on where they are. So 20 seconds or so, that's more or less. Thomas, if he looks around, he'll be able to see the chasers as they turn onto the next section of trail and tackle this challenging sector.
And they're back again on these hiking trails. Samparisis are looking back. How big is the gap to the chasers? The chasers, Mondraker Walter, mountain bike Kaboom Krapf team with Specian and Walter. So these 2 young guns, 24 years of age, competing really, really good at this year's edition of the Swiss Epic. They're quite surprised about their own performance.
Well, they're Italian, and the Italians have had a good showing at the SPAR Swiss Epic in the past. We've seen the likes of Michele Casagrande riding with Fabian Rabensteiner, who's also a major contender in this edition of the SPAR Swiss Epic. And another Italian victory also came from Fabian Rabensteiner in 2022. So 2019, it was a pairing of Casagrande and Rabensteiner. In 2022, Gersmeyer, the Austrian, who's not here. This is arguably Gesmeyer's favorite race, but he is not here this year for this year's edition. Leaving it up to Fabian Rabensteiner to fly the flag for the Willier Vittoria team. The team has gone through a few name changes with their sponsors, their tire sponsors and their bike sponsors, but the squad, the core of it still remains the same. Mountain bike stage race specialist for sure.
Definitely, yeah.
And we're with the women, the Calderon and Cortacas. They lost not too much time with that crash. Of course, they did take Calderon a little bit of time to consolidate, to look down, check her bike, check herself, and we saw that at the time check they had around about a 3-minute advantage at the top of the climb that marked the 37-kilometer mark, Sarrdasca Valley, up to the top of the peak there, before they tackled the Montbeel downhill and into Klosters for the short section of tar and the last ascent. The last two ascents divided, or the last ascent divided into two, up to the highest point in the race at 1,700 meters. And the 37-kilometer mark, we have it there in writing. The team of Loza and Stradum have flown the coupe, flown that little chase group, you could say, of Fasolis and Barato. Fasolis and Barato are 3 minutes and 37 back off the lead set by Calderon and Cortacas. So the order of affairs is pretty similar to stage one, with the dominant pairing of the Dutchwoman and the Colombian. On the left-hand side, we catch a glimpse of Danielle Stradum and Vera Loza as they chase after the Colombian and the Dutchwoman, the leaders on the day and the leaders on overall general classification. Great images we're seeing here, both from the Bulls Media e-bike and from the air, to get a beautiful view of this stunning Swiss landscape. But be absolutely sure that the riders will be tunnel vision, because this is a critical point in the race, a point where they can drive home their advantage. And also they don't want to make any mistakes. The tar sections, the gravel sections might be smooth, but still at these speeds, it's absolutely on the limit. They'll be cornering as fast as possible as they head into the next section of trail that awaits the team of Danielle Stradum and Vera Loza. Just having a look at the analysis of where the time gains have been made. They gained time on that descent, so they seem to be descending very smoothly under the guidance of, you could say, the local. She's Namibian, but she lives in Switzerland. Vera Loza is guiding her new partner down these trails and getting 19 seconds back on Calderon and Cortacas, but the lion's share of the time gained has been on the climbs, with Calderon and Cortacas putting down the power exactly when it really matters, putting the others on the back foot. We're with Vera Loza and Danielle Stradum, the national champion of Namibia and South African champion in the marathon discipline, and also incidentally in the gravel discipline. Danielle Stradum, a rising star in the sport.
And again, some time in the downhill, like yesterday, so it would be interesting for tomorrow as well, because tomorrow is like, let's say, the downhill stage, more downhill than uphill. So they always win some time when it goes down. And from this here on, it goes back up again, to force then, and we're back with the leaders. Calderon and Cortacas.
What a beautiful day we have here in Davos. Absolutely stunning. We've got 17 degrees on our weather forecast, and it just seems so much more beautiful than 17 degrees. And we expect a little bit of rain towards the end of the week, but today the riders are going to make hay while the sun shines, and that's certainly what Calderon and Cortacas are doing from an idiomatic point of view. They are driving home their advantage while the sun shines on the race, on the SPAR Swiss Epic, the 2024 edition of, that is stage 3, day 3 of this magical mountain bike race set in the gorgeous Swiss Alps.
it's getting busier here at the finishing area, so that means the riders are pretty close.
We got that feeling that we always get at the finish line, where there's just a bit of a buzz as the riders get closer, and we can start to, the music starts to get turned up, and the people start to meerkat their heads a little bit to see if they can see any signs of the lead motorbikes. So far, there's still a bit to go, but within 20 minutes or so, we'll know exactly who the winner of the day is. And for the fans, from the fans' point of view, we want to see an exciting sprint finish. It means it's down to the line. But there's still plenty to play for the top 5 teams. And having watched earlier some scenes from Thomas Ditch's Bulls Media e-bike, we saw KTM Alchemist Sprinter Brakes making an attack, gaining about 20 seconds on their rivals. So a closely fought race in the men's category, but it looks like the women's race is being dominated by Calderon and Cortacas as they add more minutes onto their campaign for their overall win on Saturday. That's eyes on the prize, not just for today's stage, but gaining time on their rivals overall. That orange leaders jersey means so much to the pairing of Cortacas and Calderon.
The leaders are now in the middle of Klosters. Pretty close to the next water station. So we have 3 waters and technical stations today. A bit of traffic for them. You can see on the right-hand side the tennis court of Davos, world-famous junior tournament every spring here in Klosters. And on the graphics now, Calderon, Cortacas, then the chasers are Loser and Stridam, Fasolis and Burato at the moment on 3rd place, and then Dauberman on the 4th place, the 3rd placed team from yesterday. So this is the 3rd placed team, Chiara Burato and Fasolis.
Fantastic performance from the Italians, and they had a disappointing last section of that climb as they headed up to the top of the Scaletta Pass, losing some time to the German team, who eventually finished 3rd on the stage. But today they are making good. They are making up for it, and they are well and truly in the perfect position to take another 3rd spot. The coveted spot on the podium at the SPAR Swiss Epic in 2024, and we'll hope to see good things from them throughout the week and in the future as the pairings start to really hit their stride as mountain bike stage racers.
So now the graphic, Fasolis and Burato compared to Loser and Stridam, the 2nd place team. So in the uphill, they're always a bit faster than the 2nd placed team, but they lose time in the downhill.
Looks like Loza and Stradum are experts in the downhill sections. They are well versed in these trails, and they've got their own rhythm for Zolis and Barata. They'll know what their own tactics are, and they'll stick to them. That's the most important thing. As the leading women pass through the aid station, gaining some, they're taking on board some of the nutrition, making sure that they stay fueled for the end of towards the end of the day, and also for tomorrow. They're eating and drinking for tomorrow, staying fueled throughout the stage, taking on as much carbohydrate and as much fluid as they can. You can see there we saw Barata just taking on some nutrition on board, putting a wrapper back in her pocket. Costanza, Fasolis and Barata having a great day out. Costanza Fasolis is in fact has Epic Legend status, which means she's done the APSA Cape Epic and 2 other of the Epic Series races, which includes the portfolio of global mountain bike stage races, includes the Andorra Epic, which we had in July, the race that we are at right now, the SPAR Swiss Epic, and the 4 Islands in Croatia, all spectacular races in iconic regions. And Fasolis is a well-experienced campaigner in these races. So great to see her at the race with her partner Barato, and looking good for a third spot on the podium today.
They've been on third place at the first stage, so probably back on the podium for today, because the gap to the fourth place team, Daniela Höfler and Antonia Daubermann, was quite big at the last timing. We will have some news from this service station at the Graustrechni. So the gap is already 2 minutes from Calderon Cortecas to Vera Loser and Daniel Strydom. Food, drinks, stuff for your bike, and even a medical station ready here. There's some medicals on course, on the e-bike, on the motorbike. So everything is secure through the whole week, through every stage.
Well, we've seen from just those two seemingly innocuous crashes what kind of an impact they can have on a rider. So safety is #1 priority, especially in the remote areas.
Yeah.
But in fact, all of the Epic Series races pass through. And, it's not just about the trails around town. It's about reaching some highly distant places out on the trails. We saw yesterday some stunning images from the Scaletta Pass. Those remote hiking trails, very rough and not groomed at all. And it's important that the riders know the peace of mind that if something does go wrong, hopefully it doesn't. It's all about the fact that there is help at hand if need be.
And we're going to another famous pass tomorrow, the Strela Pass, which is up there. You can see it from our commentary booth. So really high above the Foss, going from the Foss to Langwies, to the Schanfigg, and then down to Chur. And then the riders, they come back up with the railway, with the RHB, with the train, and the bikes have been carried up again as well. So,
well, with the third place team in the women's category, Metacopo Chikli Trigani. And up ahead, Cannondale ISB Sport Women and Efficient Infinity have been through the time check at the 44.5 kilometer mark, with the South African and Namibian 2 minutes and 28 seconds back off the lead set by Calderon and Martinez. Calderon and Cortecas, I beg your pardon, and both of them having lost a little bit of time after a spill from Monica Calderon. 2 minutes 28 seconds. There's still a slim margin, and perhaps Efficient Infinity can put just their final surge in on that final rise and close that gap. That's what they have to do, but we're pretty sure that Calderon and Cortecas will make sure that they put an end to any hopes that the Namibian and the South African have of winning the stage, knowing that the overall prize is very much within their grasp. Calderon wanting to gain as much advantage over their rivals as possible. And we're back with the men's leaders in the resplendent in their yellow jerseys, and we'll be just trying to let's have a word with Thomas Ditch to see if he's got any insights as to what's happening down on the trails.
Yeah, Thomas, they're pretty close now. They're at the Wolfgang Pass now, the riders. Yeah, the speed is high now from the Samparisis.
Yeah, we just passed the last feed zone, and yeah, for sure the speed is high, and when the climb is coming, it's harder and harder. The second team was coming back to the last feed zone. Now they lose some second. I just checked behind me. Yeah, the second team it's around 15 seconds behind. They don't lose so much time, but KTM now is pushing to make a gap, to make the difference, to go to the finish.
So the second team is still Mondraker, Usin Specha and Simon Walter, is that right?
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
All right, and yeah, they're pretty close to home now, to the Foss. Going back up again a little bit, and then a nice single trail down.
Well, there we have it, a fantastic performance by the Samparisis, and the time gaps are not 100% accurate. These are our live tracking times, but you can see the order of affairs for sure, and we can rely on that with Specia and Walter. Another fantastic day out there, second overall, and we're third on the stage yesterday with Schmidt and Flückiger. Lucas Flückiger, the team manager, is now showing the team how it's done, setting the example for the all-Swiss team of bikes performance.
So probably some emails came in, and he has to be busy in the afternoon. So I want to go quick into my office.
Yes,
now.
he has to get back to the office. He's in a rush. The Rabensteiner and Poro, we were looking at them as really a resurgent Italian team. We've seen them in the past at the race. Rabensteiner, a former winner, and we expected big things of them in the day. We saw the momentum was definitely in their favor going into the stage, but they have lost over 2 minutes so far to the charging Italians. The riders, the Samparisis, converting from cyclocross, now having a more varied program and becoming now the unofficial stage race specialist. And by the end of today, they can honestly call themselves stage race specialists.
20 seconds is the gap.
20 seconds.
Yeah, 20 seconds is the gap from the leaders to Usin Specia and Simon Walter.
20 seconds may not seem a lot, but it's more the psychological advantage that the Italians have, in that they can attack at will and gain 20 seconds at will.
Yep.
Because the job of any rider when one team attacks, that the primary goal is to stay in touch. And if they are unable to match that acceleration, if they're unable to match the pace of the Samparisis, that's a psychological blow for the Swiss pairing Specia and Walter.
It looks like Simon Walter, his shape is a bit better at the moment than Usin's shape. He's leading all the time, and he told me that, yeah, he's actually feeling really, really good.
They seem to have an air of confidence about them in the interviews that we saw, and that's always a good sign when the riders are confident in their abilities, and they are showing that they are absolutely on the gas right now. This is a full gas effort for them as they head. There's only 7 kilometers to go. They are not yet at the peak, the highest point in the race at 1,770 meters before they plunge down, on the steep trails, steep single track trail before they reach the town of Davos. We've done a loop stage today. There's a final section of tar, a few kilometers long, and if the race is together, if the Swiss team Specia and Walter do manage to get in touch with the Italians, it's going to be an exciting sprint finish. But maybe the Italians have got, maybe they've decided, it's likely they've decided they don't want to take anything, they don't want to take any chances and drag anyone else to the line so they can dominate the proceedings.
Actually, these two guys, Simon Walter and Usin Specia, are newbies at the Swiss Epic. So
that's surprising considering they are Swiss and they are mountain bikers.
Yeah, they're young. That's probably why. So Simon Walter just turned out of the under 23. We will have a look at the current overall standing. So the virtual general classification at the moment. And the gap now from Samparisi to Specia and Walter is at 1 minute and 24 seconds more, up to Schmid and Flückiger, and then Munoz and Gesche on fourth place with 3 minutes and 13 seconds. That's pretty narrow.
That's a narrow margin. Rabensteiner and Poro 5. They're moving up that board. They were 7th overall at the start of the race. And they're moving up, of course, with the unfortunate incident that the team of Brandon and Witsum had. They are skipping ahead. So 5th place, and if they keep this momentum, they could be well in for a podium spot when we reach Davos in the grand finale on Saturday. But all credit to this team right here, having an incredible race, even as newbies. It's hard to say they're newbies because they definitely will know these trails very well. They are Swiss nationals. They'll be able to ride these trails anytime. But exciting to see them put their local knowledge to good practice as they head up this final section of trail.
Especially for tomorrow. Usin Specia is living pretty close to Chur, which is the finish line tomorrow. He knows these trails really, really good.
Okay, but just
he lives a bit above Kur, and during winter time, Kur is always drier than the rest part, and he always comes down for training, so he will know these trails very good. So this could be an advantage because we have a lot of downhill tomorrow. This is the third team coming in, Schmid and Flückiger. The next chasers, it's Lukas Flückiger leading. André Schmid, his young companion, 24 years old.
Well, there's that familiar style of Lukas Flückiger. If anyone's been following mountain bike stage racing and mountain biking over the years, over the last decade, you'll know that style well, and you'll know what it looks like when Lukas Flückiger is going absolutely to the maximum. And he looks back at his teammate Jan Schmidt just to see the state of affairs, to see what his face looks like and to see what his body language looks like. Lukas Flückiger is on a fantastic day, turning back the clock and riding at the very front of affairs. They're lying in third on the stage, and on the overall general classification, they look to be moving up another position. Exciting for the Swiss pairing as the bike's performance team, Jan Schmidt and Lukas Flückiger. They have got a bit of a gap ahead of them to Mondraker Volta MTB. Both of those two teams have in fact risen up the ranks on overall general classification. Today they started the stage in third place overall, and they're looking to get back in touch with Specia and Volta to solidify that spot. Hot pursuit, Klimatiza, Totemi Kabati, team of Munoz and Sebastian Gesch.
Lukas Flückiger retired probably 4 years ago from racing. Then he was 1 year off, no racing. He founded this team, the bike's performance team, with Verini is also in there. And then after a year off, he came back at a certain Swiss Cup, straight into top 10. and now he's racing, a bit more now. So, he can't leave. He can't leave. And he's in a perfect shape, still in such good shape. So that's
racing
amazing.
Is absolutely in his veins, for sure, and he just cannot resist. And also, as we said, setting an example to his younger teammates. And we're with Thomas Ditch, who is giving us a view of just how big that gap is up ahead to the Mondraker Volta MTB Kaboom team. And very soon we'll not only get a glimpse of Specia and Volta and how they're going, but also of KTM Alchemist Brenta Brakes, the leaders of the race overall in their yellow jerseys, and the leaders on the stage, Lorenzo Samparisi and Nicholas Samparisi.
Yeah, and Thomas Dirch was in that amazing downhill, a bit above Wolfgang, the last downhill over this meadow fields. A lot of sheep there normally, but now everything is free, and a real nice single trail down back to Davos. We can see the Lake of Davos in the background.
This is the section of trail that we're discussing, that it's a bit of single track down, steep single track. You can see Thomas Ditch is showing us how it's done. And then they'll be, very soon, they'll be reaching the valley, and it'll take them past, take them through into the town of Davos. And on the right-hand side, we catch a glimpse of the women's team. It's a relief to all fans of Monica Calderon that she is back on her bike without any issues after her small spill in the forest on those rooty, slippery sections of trail. But looks like no harm done. She'll be taking stock at the end of there. Calderon leading the way, Tessa Kortekas allowing her partner just a bit of space on the corner to get around and continue on this steep section of the course as they climb up to, they're past the halfway point already with 15 kilometers to go. They will be looking to gain as much advantage over this steep section. They've been proving themselves as the best climbers of the race, distancing Loza and Stratum very early on in the stage, and already over a 2-minute advantage over the Namibian and the South African.
Nice shot from Stefan Sam on the Bulls Media e-bike. Stefan, everything looks under control from these two women.
Yeah, absolutely. They are really controlling the pace of the whole UCI women field. And I just got a glimpse on Monica's knee, so she injured her knee a little bit, see some blood running, but looks like it doesn't affect her rhythm. They're still pushing really hard, so really some badass women racing here at the Swiss Epic. So cool
Great to hear
watch.
that. Thank you very much, Stefan. Hey, Stefan, you told me early in the morning that you're feeling your legs. How are you feeling now?
It's actually a shame to talk about that. The e-biker feeling the legs.
No, not at all, because you made the course 2 times yesterday.
Maybe I feel my age, to put it more correctly.
Ah, okay.
No.
Hold on. Your birthday is on Saturday, so everything turns out. But,
no,
hey.
I'm enjoying this.
Okay, good. But you have to carry a lot of weight. So you're on an e-bike, but how heavy is your whole equipment?
The whole equipment is around 10 kilos. So, and with the weight of the e-bike, it's also like a different riding style in corners and braking points. So you always have to be really focused on what's happening in front of you.
Yeah, exactly. So dancing monkey on the back. And yeah, how many cameras do you carry with you?
Currently 3 cameras, but there's always potential for more cameras.
You think so? So 1 camera on the helmet and
Yes.
2 cameras on a gimbal on a chest mount.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And for the future, we're planning some other stuff, so we're going to keep evolving this.
Okay. So you brought a new gimbal this year, and the pictures are fantastic. So everything is steady and yeah, just looks great. So always improving every year.
Always, if you stand still, you're going backwards. This is like racing. Every year the races, they step up the games, we have to follow.
Are you designing the gimbals and everything? The camera mounts?
No, I'm not that clever. I can just ride a bike.
And you can do the samurai. So the world famous tool. Most of the riders are bringing with them. So a tire plug into the handlebar, and yeah, just light, just perfect. Ask for the samurai at your local shop dealer.
Well, we're getting a great view of the men and the women together. But the men are very close to the finish right now as we track with Thomas Ditch on his Bulls Media e-bike. We track the leaders, and we just have a look at that time check at the 58-kilometer mark. They had a 33-second advantage over Mondraker Volta MTB Kaboom, with bike's performance 49 seconds back. And Team Climatizo Totemi Cavity quite a bit further back, almost 3 minutes behind the Italians, behind the Samparisis. And we're watching the Samparisis show us all how it's done. Another superb performance by the Italian team as they put the final touches onto their campaign on stage 3 at the SPAR Swiss Epic. The start-finish section in Davos right now. We're starting to feel the buzz as the riders approach the last section of trail, and very soon we'll see them cross the line. Different from the past 2 days, it's not going to be a sprint finish. It's going to be a solo. If all goes as it is now, it's going to be a solo effort. So the riders will be able to take a little bit of time to celebrate, put their hands up in the air as they cross the finish line under the clock that we see in front of us right now. 3 kilometers to go for the Samparisi brothers, Lorenzo and Nicholas, as they head up into just a little bit of an up and down section of trail in the forest. But they'll be looking to their right to their final destination and more honors, more time on that top step of the podium.
And for the first time, they don't have to sprint. So sprint decisions yesterday between the Samparisis and Fabio Rabensteiner and Samuel Porro, and on the first day between the Samparisis and Simon Winstum and Fadri Barandun. They can enjoy it now.
They'll enjoy it, and they'll also enjoy not having the stress of having to sprint for it and not having to put in that final effort. They've done the work. They did it a little bit earlier on one of the final sections of the trail on the climb, and they made their efforts count, and they are absolutely in sync. What a well-matched pair these two are. They've done extremely well to distance their rivals, but it's not come from, it certainly has come from the great riding between, the great dynamic between these two riders. They know each other very well, extremely well matched, and great communication between the two. They're accustomed to mountain bike stage racing, two-person stage racing extremely well, and there is no better evidence of that right now as we watch the Samparisi brothers put further time into Specher and Walter, and with Schmidt and Flückiger in hot pursuit. It looks like if things continue as they are now, no incident, those three teams look likely for the podium today, as bikes performances, Schmidt and Flückiger are looking to get back in touch with Specher and Walter. But the day certainly looks like it belongs to the Samparisis.
Yeah, but they're always looking back. They're not that sure how big the gap is to the chasers.
Okay. Then I wait after the single track or before the single track?
So just 2Ks to go for the leaders here. You can see the fours in the back. So
according to our map, Dario, sorry to cut you short, but according to our map, it is smooth roads from here on. They've passed the challenging sections of trail. Now it's all about putting maximum effort, and they'll have a little short run down onto the tar section as they lead into Davos. The last final section, very smooth single track, but the forest, rooty, rocky, challenging single track, those sections of the trail are well and truly done. They have they've conquered the Alps, they've conquered the trails, and they will be enjoying a final lead into Davos and being able to not having to contend with anyone for a sprint finish. They can have the spoils all to themselves. They can raise their hands and do a proper victory celebration. Every racer in the world who wins a bike race would love to do it alone and just enjoy and savor that experience as they cross the line.
And probably for them it was totally blind racing today, because they told me yesterday the Scalette Pass they already did before, but today it was, they didn't even know one trail. So probably a big advantage for all the Swiss riders because they know some of the trails, but this guy, the terrain was totally unknown.
And that's one of the things that comes from being the strongest in the race, as these two have proven, is that they can play the tactics how they want it. They have the firepower to be able to match any of the local riders and to take advantage of that local knowledge. Witnessing the local riders take the trails. They go under the bridge, and very soon we'll see them pop out and just make their launch their final assault on this race. Not far to go for the Samparisis for yet another celebration for the Italians.
Yeah, an outstanding performance today. These two brothers, but the chasers are pretty close. So underneath the railway, now down the chairs, up the, not chairs, stairs. Yeah, they have to sit down in the chairs later on. So 2Ks to go. 1K to go for the leaders, 2Ks for the chasers, for the real young chasers. So the last K is the same as yesterday. This part of the track they really know.
They know it very well. They had a bit of stress yesterday with going through this section, knowing that the stage win could easily have been taken by another team. In fact, it was the team of Rabensteiner and Porro pipped them at the finish, but their job of retaining the overall and gaining advantage on the overall general classification was done. So a bit of a sweet moment for them, and they're going to make up for it. Today is going to be absolutely all sweet. They're gaining time and they're going to win the stage. So it's a win-win situation for the Italians. and we can expect them in the next few seconds, in fact. And they're well within the Flamme Rouge, the last kilometer of the race. And they are putting down maximum power, not the power that they need to sprint for the line. They can put in a smooth effort and enjoy the celebrations as they cross the line here in Davos. Stage 3 almost done and dusted for the team of KTM Alchemist Brenta Brakes.
2 hours and 50. We're here in the Kurpark in Davos. A lot of spectators just showed up now, waiting for today's winners. They're on the last green section.
You can see from their body language, they are delighted.
Yeah.
They're excited to win another stage, and they're also putting in maximum effort to gain as much time on their rivals as they can. And they come into the finish, the final finish chute, and a cry of delight and a roar as they cross the line. The two of them, they know what they've done. They've won stage 3, a prestigious stage of the race, a prestigious race, and they have gained time on their overall, on their rivals, Mondraker, Walter. They'll look back to see who's coming in second, to see what the state of affairs, and a fantastic performance from Spesha and Walter as they cross the line. And all eyes back to third spot. Who will take the third spot overall? We saw Team Bikes Performance, Flückiger and Schmidt, in the mix at the end. And within a few seconds, we'll know exactly how much time Bikes Performance have lost to KTM Alchemist Brenta Brakes. Samparisi winning the day. And as Team Bikes Performance head into the finish chute and congratulate each other, time on the podium for them. And a fantastic race for Lucas Flückiger and his partner Jan Schmidt. Some celebrations from the team manager and the team member. Shades of the past, turning back the clock. Lucas Flückiger has done it again on the podium at the highest level of the sport. Amazing performance from the Bikes Performance team. That's the podium rounded out. Congratulations all around. Respect among the riders for a fantastic ride from the Italians. And a moment for the Italians to shake hands with one of the legends of the sport, one of the best in the business, Lucas Flückiger. He's arguably still semi-retired, but I think he's just proven that he is absolutely not a retired professional. He is a professional with tremendous third spot today. Bikes Performance, they are the second team of Bike Performance, but bit of an incident on stage 1. The first team of Bikes Performance had an issue with their tire, and now the overall general classification target will be to support the team of Schmidt and Flückiger. All eyes back to Fabian Rabensteiner and Samuel Poro. We expected a lot of this team. We saw a disappointing day, losing over 5 minutes for Rabensteiner and Poro on stage 1. They've put that disappointment behind them, winning stage 2, gaining time on the descent, the final descent off the Scarletta Pass, catching up to the Samparisis and pipping them in the sprint. But today they have lost further time. And at the last time check we saw at the 60-kilometer mark, 5Ks to go, they were over 3 minutes back, riding together with Climatiza Totemic Tabati. They will be cooperating with the Spanish riders, or the Spanish and the Chilean rider, Munoz and Gesh, as they head into the finish. And very soon we'll see them go into the tunnel, down the stairs, and out into the final stretch as they head towards the finish line in Davos. And with all eyes on Rabensteiner and Poro riding with Munoz and Gesh, they are looking to limit the damage done overall by KTM Alchemist Brenta Brakes as they cross through the finish line altogether. No sprint, there is no more podium spots up for grabs, so they roll through. And no doubt we'll be hearing from Dario. Dario's just gone down to the finishers area to chat to some of the riders. Hopefully he'll get a chance to chat to the Italians to see, to witness the exuberance after yet another win. Their second stage win, 2 out of 3. And we'll be crossing down to them in just a moment.
Le vincitori della tappa, che grande finale delle Samparisi!
Sì, veramente incredibile. Oggi è stata dura, per metà tappa abbiamo controllato, poi sull'ultima salita abbiamo fatto 2 attacchi perché la coppia svizzera era riuscita già a rientrare una volta, però l'ultimo attacco è andato bene, siamo riusciti ad arrivare con qualche secondo di vantaggio.
Grande, e ancora, domani ancora una volta?
Sì, domani sarà un'altra tappa, oggi è stata tiratissima, vediamo, ormai mancano 2 giorni, le gambe stanno bene, quindi vedremo volta per volta come sarà la tattica.
So it's a big relief today that you won another 40 seconds in case of the general classification, but another stage win, the second one.
Sì, è incredibile. Questa Swiss Epic per noi sta andando veramente bene, 2 vittorie, un secondo posto e non è ancora finita. Speriamo di aggiungere qualche altra medaglia.
So not finished yet, that's what they said. The Samparisi is the winners of today's stage and the leader in the general classification. See you tomorrow. Thank you very much. Grazie mille.
Well, thanks, Dario, to show us and to let us witness the exuberance, the Italian exuberance, after a fantastic performance by the Samparisis, crossing the line, knowing that they've won the stage, but even more important, they've gained time on their rivals. As we track more teams coming into the finish, we'll no doubt be hearing from the second place team, the all-Swiss team, down on the line after another fantastic performance. The third yesterday on the stage, taking the final spot, and today second on the stage, Spescher and Walter, and will be crossing to the team of Mondrecker, Walter, MTB Kaboom, a long team name, and but they made short work of today's stage, coming in second. Dario will be chatting to them in just a moment.
Aus in Spescher, Simon Walter, zuerst müssen wir bei Schweizerdeutsch bleiben. Grad. Einfach geile Sachen, gut gemacht heute.
Ja, ist super gegangen. Ich habe mal im Moment ein bisschen gestruggelt, aber der Ursin hat mich motiviert, hat mich gezogen, hat mir gute Worte zugeredet und wir sind mega happy, wie es gegangen ist am Schluss.
Yeah, you've been one of my favorites today because it's like a cross-country court, always up and down. But the Samparisi has been really strong today as well.
Yeah, I was a little bit afraid before the start because it's still a lot of altitude meters, but it was okay. It was like a cross-country race. The Samparisi were really strong in the end, but we always could see them. And yeah, in the end, we don't lose a lot of time.
Yeah, because it was a lot of nice downhills today. You could see the Samparisi in front. So then you want to push a little bit harder if you see these guys in front of you.
Yes, a little bit. We gave everything in the last meters, but yeah, a few seconds is missing.
Ah, that's okay. So thank you very much. We see you tomorrow in Chur.
Wonderful to hear from the Swiss pairing, and great surprise to fans that these two riders are in fact newbies, Spescher and Walter from Mondrecker, Walter MTB. Kaboom is a newbie team, and remarkable performance from them. Another remarkable performance from Bikes Performance 2, Jan Schmidt and Lucas Flukiger. Another all-Swiss team with team manager Lucas Flukiger guiding his young protege, Jan Schmidt. And we'll be talking to them in just a moment as we see the riders cross the line and enjoy the spoils that await them for the wonderful Swiss hospitality and comfortable Swiss hotels. A good rest for the night.
Third place today. Lucas Flukiger and Schmidt. That was an outstanding performance today. Been really good.
Yeah, we had a great day. We had a good plan and we executed it perfect, I think.
So we thought that you had to go back to the office immediately. So how many mails did you get on your bike?
Oh, many. But I didn't have the chance to check it. But I will do it now. Back in the office.
So you retired years ago. Now you're back into racing, into stage racing, and on the podium. You never stopped training.
Oh, I did. Yeah. But I started 2 weeks ago.
Winter training?
Serious training, yeah. So it's enough for 5 days now.
So racing with an experienced old guy, that's an advantage for you, not?
Yeah, for sure. It's my first Swiss Epic, and to ride it with a legend like Luke is amazing. So I can learn so much from him. It's for me, it's the perfect partner for my first Swiss Epic.
Yeah, and tomorrow this downhill stage to Chur, something for you guys?
Definitely, yeah, I like it. More downhill than uphill, it's better.
Okay, so can you feel the 3 days now?
Yeah, for sure. As I told you, it's my first Swiss Epic, so every day is a little bit of unknown. Today went well, and I hope tomorrow even better.
Okay, good. De jonge Schnaufer und der alte Sack am Swiss Epic. Danke.
Great to hear from Lukas Flückiger and the young Jan Schmidt in his first race at the SPAR Swiss Epic. And the final results of the day, the Samparisis drove their advantage home, gained 20 seconds on their nearest rivals, Mondraker, Volta, MTB, and Schmidt and Flückiger, further 1 minute and 2 seconds down. Looking back down the list, Rabenstein and Porro, we expected to see more of them today. 3 minutes 32 is their time loss, and they will keep moving up that leaderboard, and the third spot for sure will be well within their crosshairs as we go into the final 2 days of the SPAR Swiss Epic. Spare a thought for Barendon and Witsum, injured in Le Punt, losing 6.5 minutes today with a just seemingly innocent crash. Obviously unsettled the pairing, but all is not lost for the local lads injured in Le Punt. General classification in the men's category, Samparisis from KTM Alchemist Brenterbrake finished the stage today with an accumulated time of 9 hours and 50 minutes and 56 seconds, 1 minute and 46 seconds ahead of Specher and Volta, and 2:32 ahead of Schmidt and Flückiger. Flückiger and Schmidt are well and truly solidifying that spot on third overall. Quite a big gap to Munoz and Gesche, and Barendon and Witsum move one further step down on the leaderboard. Rabensteiner 1 step up, riding with Samuel Porro. Now, we saw earlier the interview with Lukas Flückiger, and the Flückiger name has appeared on the history, has appeared in the history books many times at the SPAR Swiss Epic. In fact, in 2014, Matthias Flückiger won the race riding with Lukas Buchli, again repeating that performance in 2015, and some sibling rivalry in 2016 with Lukas Flückiger riding with Reto Indegand, winning the race, the 2016 edition, and then returning with Nicola Rohlbach to win again in 2021. So what a long career from the rider Lukas Flückiger. Just a quick analysis of where the time was lost and when the time was gained. The Samparisis were put their big efforts in the, you could say, the last quarter of the race. And that's where they made it count, gaining a bit of a gap on their rivals and driving it home into the finish in Davos to cap off a remarkable stage 3.
And Origin Go Euro connection, the Origin Voter connection, pretty close to Lambert, Bazi Ayar. And on the way now, Team Marquis.
So it's amazing to see the riders right after the finish line, totally relaxed, not exhausted at all. That's, yeah, so impressive. So, yeah, after clearly 3 hours of racing, yeah, having a shake, having something to eat, clean everything, and now they're ready for the rest of the day. So we can have a quick view into the rider booth.
Well, it's testament to the professionalism and the level of the riders that we see here today at the here, in fact, all week at the SPAR Swiss Epic. We've got some of the top athletes in the business, and also some fantastic surprises. We every year we have some new surprises, and it's all about ushering the new era, the new guard. You could say the new guard is arriving at the SPAR Swiss Epic and at the sport of mountain bike stage racing, and it's great to see new names at the top of the leaderboard, and just as good to see some of the old names.
Yeah, and the perfect mix out of that is the team bikes performance with the newbie and the former winner, Lukas Flückiger. And team by team is coming back home to beautiful Davos. In the back up there, over the SPAR arch, we see the Körbschorn. Körbschorn, very beautiful mountain bike tour as well.
We've seen a great many Swiss riders on the top step of the podium over the past 10 years, 11 years in fact, at the SPAR Swiss Epic. And we've also seen some Italian names as well, the likes of Casagrande, Rabensteiner himself. And now we have the new Italian team that's arrived on the scene, the Samparisis, and great to see. And dominated mostly by the Europeans, with winners in the men's category coming from Switzerland, the majority of the wins coming from Switzerland, Austria, Italy, and the Martin Stozek winning from Czechia. The winners list in the men's category has seen some illustrious names in the sport, and notably Nino Schurter riding with Lars Foster, the former European champion, and another name that stands out in the men's winners, André Frischknecht, son of mountain bike legend Thomas Frischknecht, and that year was 2018. It was the first year that the SPAR Swiss Epic became part of the Epic Series, and an auspicious year, an auspicious win from Matthias Sternemann. In the women's category, we've also seen some illustrious winners wearing that leaders jersey. Anneke Langval, multiple world champion, riding with Ariane Kleinhans. Both of them multiple winners at the Absa Cape Epic, which is the pinnacle of the Epic Series. And we've also seen former Olympic champion Yolanda Neff, and World Cup star Alessandra Keller. Monica Calderon filling the big shoes of past winners of the SPAR Swiss Epic. Also, we've seen Haley Batten. We're looking down the list of previous winners of the race. Haley Batten, silver medalist at the Olympics this year. Good. Monica Calderon riding with Tessa Kortikos, former triathlete living in Lanzarote. Calderon, the Colombian, well accustomed to high altitude, and putting their skills and their physical ability, their physiology, to good effect. Taking a little bit of a liberty in the beginning, really putting an attack early on, means that they've been riding solo the whole day. And when we say taking a liberty, it's a big risk for riders to attack so early on, but they know they've got the confidence over the past 2 days. They've got the confidence to know that they can carry that attack all the way through to the finish. They sensed their rivals' weaknesses, and they made it count. And of course, when you have, even if it's a 20-second lead really early on in the race, it means that you have your rivals on the back foot, and it's all important, the physical battle as well as the psychological battle. Just tracking live, looking at the times, the time differences. It came down to around about 2 minutes shortly after Monica Calderon's crash, but Calderon and Kortikos have got back into their rhythm, and they've gained 4.5 minutes on the stage over their rivals, Loza and Stradum. Fazolis and Barato, 6 minutes, so almost in touch with the Namibian and the South African. The Italians having another great day out, looking good for a podium spot on stage 3. Back to the podium, the men's category, introduced by announcer Paul Kay.
We'll be taking out the top three UCI men's teams at the end of the stage. To do the presentations, a good morning and a massive welcome and a huge thank you. Our COO, SPAR Switzerland, Mr. Gary Alberts. Your third position, our team bikes performance 2, Jan Schmidt and Lukas Flukiger.
All great prizes today. Nice little cute stuff toys. You will undergrade the labels. Look at the competition. Ongoing contact TV cup. Boom. Klosters station. Simon Papa. We now bring up to the top step of the podium your winners of stage 3. KTM Alchemist Winter Brakes, Lorenzo Samparisi, Nicolas Samparisi. Six of the best, your 3 best teams, and KTM Alchemist Winter Brakes, top step one, Lorenzo and Nicolas. Grande, ragazzi, grande, grazie. They'll come off the podium now, and we'll be bringing back the wearers of your yellow jersey.
Nice podium, huh?
Excellent showing and a good Swiss podium too.
yeah, definitely. Really nice to see these guys on the podium together with Samparisi's outstanding performance again. And they're looking forward for tomorrow's stage as well. So now they're even more hungry, I guess.
Even more hungry, certainly, and good morale and good confidence that they take through to the next stage. And they seem to have a big appetite for winning, which is always a good sign.
That's a good sign, yeah. Even after stage 3, 1 time, second, 2 wins out of 3.
Now, tactically, all they really need to do is defend, because they have they're getting a good lead on the overall. And if they sit back and don't take any risks, but somehow it doesn't seem to be in the Italians' nature. They look like, from their body language and from their performances out on the bike today, they are aggressive racers through and through. So it'll unfold tomorrow. Our theories today will be either proven or disproven, but it's highly likely that the Italians will keep their assault on the race, wanting to gain as much time as they possibly can on their rivals. Then they can enjoy a grand finale and really savor it, and not have to race for it. They don't seem to be too fond of sprint finishes, as they really were quite keen to get away from their nearest rivals. Even in the last section of the race, they put in maximum effort so they could reach the line solo. They could celebrate. And good tactic from the Italians. That's what it's all about, is driving home any advantage you possibly can and making the absolute most of it. Also making the most of it, Tessa Kortekas and Monica Calderon. And we see the Dutch woman leading the way on the climbs. We've seen Monica Calderon and Tessa Kortekas swap turns at the front, and each enjoying the other pacing. It seems that they have again proven themselves as a worthy pair, and most importantly, the team dynamic between them is extremely good. We caught up with Kortekas before the race, and she said that her and Monica Calderon hardly have to speak throughout the race. They both speak Spanish, and in fact that's how they communicate, in Spanish. But she said that they hardly need to say a word to each other. It's almost telepathic. They can tell by the body language just how the other is feeling. And Tessa Kortekas leading the way up this section of climb. She'll know just exactly how Calderon is feeling, knowing not to put too much effort and put her in any trouble. Calderon still wait to hear from her on the line to see if she's suffering any ill effects from that crash that she had. A dramatic, in fact, not too dramatic, Dario.
Not too dramatic,
almost innocuous. But sometimes those small crashes can have a big impact.
Yeah. But we don't know yet. So if they're here and they cool down, so everything can change. So probably a bit more hurts tomorrow morning after a crash like that. Yeah.
It is often the case. The riders often talk about being able to finish a stage, and once the adrenaline wears off, they get a chance to sit down and have their massage. That's when the pain, the road rash, or in this case the trail rash, sets in.
Yeah.
And just the aches and pains that come with having fallen off your bike. And the 37-year-old will make sure that she has a full recovery this evening, so that they can live to fight another day, and not just fight another day, but thrive another day, because they certainly look like the dominant team, as is evidenced by their stages 1 and 2 victories, and look very much well on track for another, with only 7 kilometers to go. Still a bit of riding to go, some trails to tackle, and they'll need to pay maximum attention right until they reach that tar section in Davos and keep the pressure on, with Vera Lorza and Daniel Stradum also keeping a fantastic rhythm. Lorza just allowing Daniel Stradum to set the pace on the climbs. Often it's not the stronger rider that sets the pace on the climbs. Sometimes there's a good tactic, a good team dynamic for the rider who is stronger to let the other rider, let their teammates set the pace, where the draft effect isn't quite so significant. That means that the weaker rider, not to say that Daniel Stradum is a weak rider, she just might not have the experience and the endurance of the veritable Namibian. But allowing the rider out front to set the pace means that they can set their own rhythm and not be under any pressure, and just save a little bit of energy for each day and pace themselves perfectly, not just throughout the day, but throughout the week.
And another great graphic and another great downhill performance of these two ladies, always in the downhill, again some time, and then they lose again on the uphill, and they lost around 2 minutes on this last uphill to Larette. And this last uphill is not done yet. They have to go over the Wolfgang and then back into Davos.
And there's still a lot to go. Great to see the national championship jerseys out in full this year at the SPAR. So we've seen 8 national championship jerseys, and the two in front of us, Namibia and South Africa. And it is truly an international field. 41 countries are represented in the entire field of over 500 riders. And of those, it's 71% is international, 29% Swiss riders.
Even the Swiss riders enjoy it up here in Davos.
They certainly do.
Yeah.
We saw Jan Schmidt, and in fact the Samparisis are newbies at the race, and exciting to see the newbies coming to the race and enjoying the spoils of Switzerland and the spoils of the Epic Series race, the SPAR Swiss Epic, where it is perfectly packaged for them. Stefan Wolfersberg has chosen the very finest trails in the region, packaged them all together, so it's concentrated mountain biking for sure.
Yeah.
And we've seen that up to, I think the figure was 75% of the field on newbies have not finished this race, which is interesting because there is such a thing as the Finishers Club, and we'll talk about the last Ibex in just a moment. But the Finishers Club is all for the riders, the esteemed riders that have finished 3 SPAR Swiss Epics or more, and there'll be several of those riding this year. But truly an international and a field of riders that are experiencing the trails of the SPAR Swiss Pacific for the first time.
There are only 2 riders which competed in all editions of the Swiss Epic. It's Berti Bucher and Dani Schneider.
Dani Schneider, a former road professional.
Yeah.
Berti Bucher,
Swiss champion on the road as well, yeah. We're talking about national champion jerseys, yeah.
Well, he's certainly an experienced cyclist, and riding with his longtime partner. And Berti Bucher, a 10-time. I need to actually look at the record books, but from memory, I'll say that he's at least a 10-time finisher at the Absa Cape Epic.
Yeah.
So he is one who definitely travels the world and races the world on Epic Series races. Himself an epic legend. But we're with Monica Calderon, who competed in this year's Absa Cape Epic with Tessa Kortekas. Had an extremely disappointing start to their season with the Absa Cape Epic. It was the pinnacle of their season. They'd focused their efforts on it, but unfortunately Tessa Kortekas arrived at the start with a cold which is absolutely not ideal to start a race at that level, at the highest possible level of mountain bike stage racing. Just with a little bit of an effect, a bit of a cold, and of course that compounded with the arduous nature of the course and the high level of competition. She just never recovered and eventually had to retire from the race, leaving Monica Calderon to finish the race on her own. There is a well-known jersey at the Absa Cape Epic called the Lone Leopard jersey, and that allows the riders who lose their partners to continue. UCI riders can continue with the race and enjoy the experience. Monica Calderon definitely putting in some good training in the Western Cape at the Absa Cape Epic. And we're back on the left-hand side. We have a view of the second place women on the day, Vera Loza, Daniel Stradum, and the predicted time gap between them, judging by our live tracking data, is 5 minutes and 40 seconds between Calderon and Kortekas and the team of Efficient Infinity Insure.
They're into this beautiful downhill, Drussacha, down the leading women on the right-hand side.
Did we see Vera Loza looking back? Because if she's looking back, she may well catch a glimpse. Not sure how far down the trail she can see, but just over a minute behind them is the Italians chasing them down.
4th place yesterday, and back on podium course now at the moment. A fantastic trail here.
And here we're with Monica Calderon, Tessa Kortekas as they navigate their way down the technical trail, the steep section. If you're looking at the profile, if you have it in front of you, you'll see that steep red section of trail just off the summit at 1,770 meters. And this is a section that need to pay careful attention to, and taking no risks on this downhill section, picking their way down. They know they've driven home a significant advantage on the climbs. They can afford to take it easy. They've got a buffer, not just on today's stage, but on the overall, to take it easy. No risks on this downhill. They know exactly what can happen if they do go slightly over the limit, and increase the likelihood of a crash, an injury, and just playing it very safe. Kortekas and Calderon.
So look at my knee. Probably this scar is from this trail. So I know how it feels when you crash on that one.
So, Dario, would you say that the trail is rocky? Is it just to tell us what the surface is like?
The surface, it's yeah, it's a bit slippery when it's dry. So a lot of rocks and dirt, and yeah, and a real narrow part, the trail, and on the right and on the left-hand side, it's a bit higher.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's not easy to ride, definitely not. So they cross the railway now. The leaders, and then another short trail.
See how varied the trail is, Dario. It goes from rough and rocky and treacherous, rugged, and then there's a little smooth path where they can just enjoy a bit of respite. And that's the diversity of trails is quite remarkable at the SPAR Swiss Epic. We have long open passes, narrow passes on remote hiking trails, right up to 2,600 meters. We have those bermed, hand-cut, hand-built single tracks that the riders can just absolutely let their brakes go and enjoy and trust the trail builder. And then these narrow paths that'll be used for walking. Dario talked about it earlier. Many of the trails, most of the trails around the region are shared with the hikers and the walkers and the rest of the public. And it's a great example to the world that we can all share the trails. We can all enjoy nature and all enjoy the fun that comes with riding these beautiful alpine trails. And that's what it's all about here in Switzerland. And a concentrated version of that is 5 days here at the SPAR Swiss Epic. And Vera Loza still letting her partner Daniel Stradum set the pace as they are close to the finish. We gathered from the timing data about 4 minutes from the lead, and that will vary depending on. We'll be able to get a glimpse at the time check. And just keeping an eye on the time check at the 60-kilometer mark, we'll know exactly what their progress is. We're now still with Vera Loza and Daniel Stradum, but we have got word out on the course that at the 58-kilometer mark, Cannondale ISP Sportwomen have crossed through there at 3 hours 19 and 52 seconds of elapsed time on the stage, and we'll be waiting just to see the exact time gap. These time gaps are accurate. There is a timing mat, and at the time check, and we'll be able to see just how much time Cannondale ISP Sport has put into their rivals.
So this is Vera Loza and Daniel Stradum compared to Fasolis and Burato again. And yeah, I think they struggle a bit now, the Loza and Stradum in the uphill. They lost time against the third place Fasoli and Burato, but only the 10 seconds, and they gained 45 on the last short downhill. And they're not far from home, only 4 Ks to go. Getting cheered by the spectators and the cows. Cowbells are very famous in Swiss sport eventing. Normally they're not coming with a cow, and at the Swiss Epic you can see everything. So even the cows are cheering for them.
Live with Thomas Ditch on the Bulls Media e-bike.
Coming across this narrow part here again, second ladies in the Drussacha, and then
I'm not sure to make it to the finish with the battery. I have only one bar since some kilometers now.
so second time for Thomas Dietz. It's this downhill on his e-bike. He went back again to deliver us with these fantastic pictures.
Magnificent pictures from the Bulls Media e-bikes. It is something unique about the Epic Series races that we do have the images from the Bulls Media e-bikes live, and it is the best possible way to see the racing at the highest level. We get a chance to chat to them on the course. They can tell us exactly what's going on with the riders. They can tell us where they are on the course, and they are the best judges of the form of all of the riders every second along the way. So great insights we've been getting from Stefan Sam and Thomas Ditch as we watch Monica Calderon and Tessa Kortekas just put the finishing touches on their race, on their stage 3 at the SPAR Swiss Epic.
Yeah, 3 wins in a row, probably for his leading team. That's outstanding. So real domination of Monica Calderon and Tessa Kortekas, and riding with ease. The last trails for the leaders here. Then they come back on the tarmac road in Davos. And every trail is totally different. That's really amazing around here.
It really is the true test of a mountain biker. You can manage the even just one stage of the SPAR Swiss Epic. You can call yourself an experienced mountain biker, but to do 5 days, it's a true challenge. But at the end of it, you can tick a very large box if you're any kind of cyclist, that you have truly tested yourself to the absolute limit with these remarkable trails, and just the difference of them, the difference in appearance, the difference in surface, and the altitude difference.
Yeah, 2,000 meters yesterday, 2,660 on the Scalette Pass, and tomorrow 600 meters where the finish line is in Chur. So, wow, into 2 days, 2,000, yeah, amazing.
Amazing what you can pack into 5 days of racing.
Yeah.
And that's really the art of Stefan Wolfersberg's That's his job, is essentially to create that concentrated feeling so that you can really put all of these trail experiences into 5 days. Just taking a look at the graphic, 3 kilometers to go for Calderon and Kortikos, further for Loza and Stradum, and Fazolis and Barata enjoying another great day out, and having come 4th yesterday on the stage, missing out on a podium, and today making good. As we follow Vera Loza and Daniel Stradum, Efficient Infinity team, the 2nd place on the trail, 2nd place on overall general classification, and they have passed through that time check at the 58.5 kilometer mark, 6 minutes and 26 seconds down. So Calderon and Kortikos have clearly found their rhythm again after Calderon's crash. Came down to just a little bit over 2 minutes. They closed the gap, but now driving home their advantage. That second half of today's stage, and as we entered the second half of the race, we saw some big challenges, some challenging climbs. One particular large climb at the end split into 2 parts. And Calderon and Kortikos really making it count on those ascents. They're clearly the best climbers of the race, and if you want to come to the SPAR Swiss Epic and win, you've got to be a good climber.
A good climber and a good downhiller as well. So if you have stages like yesterday with this 20K downhill, and stages like tomorrow from the Strela Pass down to Kuh with some smart uphills in between, yeah, you have to be a complete rider, because even the surface is so different. So from tarmac, rocky routes, back onto fire roads like that, and yeah, single trails and everything. And we're only 2Ks to go, and one of Stefan Wolfisbeck's specialties, it ain't over till it's over. So if you think we're done for today, he always finds another uphill. So yeah.
It's the sting in the tail. You can see on the profile that the team of Vera Loza and Daniel Stradum lost significant amounts of time, almost 4 minutes on that ascent that we were speaking about, the one that's marked into 2 parts. A little break, a little respite in the middle of it, but having lost 4 minutes in that section. They are gaining time on the downhills, and we've seen that in the past couple of stages, the skills of Stradum and Loza, but it's not enough to eat into the advantage that Calderon and Kortikos have on the climbs. Vera Loza shepherding her young teammate Daniel Stradum, a rising star in the sport, and great to see some young riders entering the fray. We look forward to seeing them years to come. In fact, the youngest rider in the race is 19 years old. Whoa! So tender age of 19, getting to experience the SPAR Swiss Epic and get that experience under the belt, and hopefully we'll see him come to the race for many years to come. In fact, the oldest rider to start the SPAR Swiss Epic at the beginning of the week is 71 years old. So
still enough time to compete for us too.
There is still time for us. It's certainly a sport, an evergreen sport. Can compete at a good level. If you're a finisher at this race, you can still call yourself an athlete, whether you like it or not. You're an experienced athlete.
Yeah.
And great to see that it's still accessible and still possible for riders of most ages.
A conqueror of the Alps, then you're. Last downhill for the leaders, and Vera Loza then Stradum on the uphill. The last part, the last narrow part from the force back on tarmac, back home. 2Ks to go. They actually can hear the stadium sound here out of the Kurpark from Davos. We're pretty close to the ice hockey stadium of the HC Davos, so if the temperature turns out pretty hot in the afternoon,
and go and lie on the ice.
Yeah, they can do that. But take care.
We've certainly enjoyed our time at the finish line, sitting here in Davos, surrounded by beautiful peaks and the beautiful town of Davos. And we also, at the same time, get to witness the world's best battle it out. And we're going to be in just a few moments seeing the women's leaders, both on the overall and of the day. Monica Calderon and Tessa Kortikos in their Civita leaders orange jerseys coming up to the finish. They are crossing under the railway, and they'll be mounting the steps, and we'll see them pop out. As we see them right now, they're popping out, and a short run into the finish. They are well within they're about to reach the Flamme Rouge, the last kilometer. Traditional Flamme Rouge denotes the fact that they have 1 kilometer to go before they can raise their arms as they cross the finish line. It'll be a solo win. The two-person team will be able to cross the line alone, not have to contend with the sprint finish. They've done the work really early on. It started within the first few kilometers. In fact, looking at the profile, the very early stage of the race, the Colonia Stutz, that's when they drove home their advantage. And even before they reached Klosters for the first time, they already had a 30-second advantage over their rivals and drove that home up Alp Novai. And the final nail in the coffin for their rivals was certainly the final ascent from Klosters up to the high point in the race at 1,770 meters. Calderon and Kortikos, a fantastic performance from the Colombian and the Dutch woman as they head into the finish, knowing that they're well past the halfway point, and another step closer, another box ticked for their campaign. Win the overall at the end of the week. That's their aim, is the top step of the podium in Davos on Saturday.
It's already 6-minute gap between the leaders, Monica Calderon, Tessa Kortikos, and the chasers, Vera Lose, Daniel Strider. 6 minutes and 39 seconds.
And looking at that 6 minutes and 26 seconds that we've got from the gap to Efficient Infinity, Mentocorpi, Chikli Dragani, that's another team that we are looking out for. 6:39 is the gap at 60 kilometers, but looking back at the split previously, Mentocorpi were just around about just over a minute and a half behind the team of Vera Lose and Daniel Stradom. We're keeping a close eye on that rivalry between the Italians and the Namibian and the South African, but the gap of 6:39 looks almost unassailable, barring incident from the team of Calderon and Kortikos, and they are almost at the finish. We can sense the buzz at the finish line that they'll be approaching very soon as they enter the fray. They enter the final area, the section of grass that denotes the finish. They'll know that they are almost home. They'll be absolutely delighted, perhaps taking a bit of time to celebrate. They won't know the exact gap behind them, but they will know for sure that they have won the stage. Wait until the final shoot. Congratulations and huge respect between these two. And the tough Monica Calderon back on her bike after a spill. We saw the spill happen in front of our eyes, and we saw her also get back on and consolidate and put the final touches on their campaign for winning the stage. Be able to take stock of exactly how much pain Monica Calderon is in. Doesn't seem too phased, but the all-important embrace at the end between the two teams, and they'll know that they've fought another day. Big respect between these two. Tessa Kortikos, an experienced mountain bike racer, knows what it's like to fall off her bike. Just watching Calderon, she's limping away. It wasn't limping while she was riding her bike, but it's a true test when you jump off the bike, just exactly how much pain you're in. She'll be looking to clean up, get on that podium, and then start her recovery routine as soon as possible. Hopefully she'll be able to get a good massage and assess the damage, if there is any, and get ready to fight another day at the SPAR Swiss Epic. And just mounting the final climb, the final big effort of the day, Daniel Stradom, Vera Lose, as they lie there was about 6 minutes and 40 seconds down at the last time check, around about 4 kilometers to go. They had a big deficit to the riders in front, but most importantly, they've got Team Mente Corpo Cicli Dragani women breathing down their necks. Vazolis and Barato are not too far back. They've gained a bit of an advantage. Vera Lorza and Stratum, they've gained some time on these steep sections of trail, but they'll still be looking behind them to make sure that they don't relinquish that second spot of the podium going into the stage. Mente Corpo Cicli Dragani having a fantastic day on day one, getting a spot on the podium, less so on stage two, relinquishing that spot to the Germans. But they have distanced the Germans today and made sure of that third spot on the podium. Great performance by the Italians. The epic legend Vazolis riding with Chiara Barato. Epic legend means that Vazolis has ridden the Absa Cape Epic and 2 other mountain bike stage races within the Epic series. And very soon we'll be crossing down to the line to speak to Monica Calderon and Tessa Kortekas, the team that dominated today in the women's category.
So Tessa back home here in Davos, but today was a stressful day.
Yeah, it was actually, because we were leading actually from the beginning. In the first downhill we had a little gap, and we decided to push a bit to see what happened, and so we actually didn't expect to be leading the race that soon. And then we felt like, okay, now there's no way back. We just tried to keep pushing, and yeah, I felt great. Monica could hold on well until in a downhill she had a crash. It was not bad, but because her knee is from a previous crash, the skin is very thin, so it only when she just kissed the floor, for example, it looks very bad, like with a lot of blood. I think she's okay. At least her head was strong because she just focused on my wheel, and yeah, super happy with another win.
Yeah, but you opened a big gap on this last uphill, so probably about 3 or 4 minutes on the last one. So you've been really strong.
We didn't have any clue how big the gap was. There was only 1 minute where we passed a river where we could see each other, and I saw it was like 1.5 minutes. I don't even remember how many kilometers we had. So I knew we were going well, and we were going strong uphill. And like I said, I felt strong uphill, but in the end, you're as strong as the weakest link. So I need to stay with Monica, and she did very well. I'm super proud of her, and yeah, it looks good for the last 2 days.
Yeah, we're proud of you. Thank you very much, Tessa. Great, thank you.
It was great to hear from Tessa Kortekas out there on the trail, just what went through their minds through good times and also bad times with Monica Calderon's crash. And we're with Daniel Stratum and Vera Lorza as they are almost home within the Flamme Rouge, within the last kilometer. And they'll just want to keep the pace high and enjoy the last few meters of this race. Very soon we'll be seeing them turning onto the grass and into the finish chute and enjoying just that feeling that comes, the relief that comes from just letting off the power as they cross the finish line. And then the next phase of the campaign begins. It's the recovery phase. We'll get some they'll be getting some fluids down, and they'll be able to get their recovery shakes in, perhaps an ice bath, and then it's all about getting some rest, perhaps a nap, making sure that they are primed for another stage tomorrow at the highest level of the sport, aiming to hold on to that second spot and lie in wait just in case the team of Calderon and Tessa Kortekas falter. They'll be riding within themselves and being patient And the motto of any mountain bike stage racer and any sportsman is to never give up. Monica Calderon and Tessa Cortes will be looking back at the clock at how much time they've gained over their rivals, but not too concerned about every second. Vera Lorza and Daniel Stradum having a moment to themselves, and big respect between these two riders. And a fantastic effort from them. Defending champion riding with new partner Daniel Stradum. She may wear the Namibian Championship jersey, but she is arguably a Swiss national at the moment, married to Connie Lorza, a former professional mountain biker, living in Switzerland now, both of them, and becoming locals and enjoying the local knowledge and the local advantage of knowing every inch of these trails. Currently third out on the road today, Fazolis and Barato. Exciting day out for them. Mentakorpa, Chikli, Dragani women are looking good for a stage, for a podium on the stage. Stage 3, disappointment yesterday. Today, another day to prove their worth as mountain bike stage racers. Very soon we'll see them go under the railway. If they haven't already, no, they've already gone under the railway, and now turning on already onto the finish area, onto the grass, and they'll take a quick chicane and be into the finish in just a moment. A great performance again by the Italians as they cross the line. Another celebration, another day done. 3 down, 2 to go, and 2 spots on the podium so far. Scenes on the finish line. Bit of relief, having done another great day out, and just checking up on the data of today's stage and taking on some nutrition, making sure they eat for tomorrow, and the earlier they can get some food down, the better, and start their recovery routine in full. And very soon we'll be crossing down to Dario, who will be with the second place team on the day, Vera Lorza and Daniel Stradum. But before we do that, just an analysis on the times. It looked like it was Calderon and Cortacas all the way through. All of the time checks, they were the fastest, with Lorza and Stradum almost matching them pedal stroke for pedal stroke in the Alp Novai section, but losing time every step of the way. Unfortunately for them, losing the most amount of time on the final climb. But Fazolis and Barato, also a consistent day out for them, riding almost pedal stroke for pedal stroke with Stradum and Lorza. But the early part of the course is where it really mattered today, with Calderon and Cortacas putting down the power really early, shortly after the first descent. We're about to welcome the team of Daniela Hoffler and Antonia Dalberman. Had a great performance yesterday, a podium spot, and the German team of One Vision Concordia Bogen are well within the last kilometers. They head towards the finish. It'll be fourth on the day for them, with their rivals behind them distanced. And they seem to have lost a fair amount of time to Fazolis and Barata. They were almost in touch, almost within a minute and a half of them, but already in the last section of the race, having lost almost 5 minutes to the Italian rivals. We'll have to chat to them down on the finish line to see exactly what happened with them, if they've had a mechanical or a crash, or if they've just not paced themselves perfectly. We'll find out as soon as we get a chance to chat to them on the line. And within a few minutes, we'll be crossing to Dario, who will be in touch with Efficient Infinity team and be getting their thoughts on today's stage and what they think of how they've done, and also looking ahead for the next 2 days. Let's hopefully get a chance to hear their thoughts on what they thought of the Alpine scenery, the Alpine trails, and just how they went about conquering the Alps on today's stage. It'll be great to hear from the Namibian and the South African. South African's a newbie of the race. There are a lot of newbies at the SPAR Swiss Epic. We've seen a large percentage, in fact, of new riders appear at this race. 74% are newbies, 74% of the field. Great to see some new, younger riders at the start in La Punt and thriving in today's stage. Looking to finish what will be a monumental achievement, having completed all 5 stages of this Alpine Challenge. Watching riders from all over the world pass through the finish line. Right now, countries from the likes of Switzerland, of course, represented. 30% of the field are Swiss and 70% are international. 10% of the field are from the United States. And interestingly, 9% are from South Africa. Germany, Belgium, Brazil, Netherlands, Spain, France, United Kingdom, all represented. And riders from far afield all coming to enjoy this Alpine experience. Scenes of the finish line at the SPAR Swiss Epic, the mountain bike race in the Alps. Alpine trails and a true challenge for all of the riders. 341 kilometers in total, and past the halfway mark, general classification lists Monica Calderon and Tessa Kortekas with a 16-minute and 22-second advantage over Vera Lorza and Daniel Straden. Fazolis and Barata, 37 minutes and 10 seconds back. Their lead of Monica Calderon and Kortekas looks not completely unassailable. Anything can happen. We saw Monica Calderon crash and having to remount and reconsolidate and make sure that there was no damage, and they did an admirable job of saving the day. And very soon we'll be hearing from Vera Lorza and Daniel Straden down the line. We'll be crossing to Dario in just a moment.
So back home on stage 3, most important thing after a stage like that is?
Recovery.
What is it?
Yeah, it's protein and carbs, carbohydrates.
Yeah. So a lot of carbs today. It was an up and down during the whole day.
Yes, it's a hard stage. Also the downhills, they're really cool. They're really technical downhills, but they're not flowing. So you're actually working the whole time. You're on your legs the whole time. Your arms are working the whole time, and then it's steep climbing. So yeah, it's definitely not a free ride.
Yeah, but you're the free riders of the general classification. If you make an own downhill classement, you're number one.
Thank you. Yeah, I saw that that we're quite fast in the downhills. I'm very chuffed. There's a few sketchy sections, so I'm glad we could at least make some time up on them. But yeah, the climbs, as Vera said, are hard, but the downhills are also quite tricky.
Okay, you said, what's that? Where did that happen?
That's the sign of a warrior. No, it's there was a section where it was very rooty and off camber, and then you go kind of slowish, and so I just knocked my knee on my shifter, and so it was nothing serious. It looks worse than it is, but I got a battle scar now, so it's pretty cool.
Okay, tomorrow. Totally different stage. You said it's not a downhill stage, so it is your specialty. It goes up and up and up again, even if Kur is lower than Davos.
Yeah, I think it's very deceiving, the profile from tomorrow. There's 3 long climbs. And yes, we are finishing quite much lower than we're starting at, but yeah, I mean, those climbs are still brutal, but maybe if we can make up enough time on the downhills and not lose too much on the uphills, we might have a good day out there.
You already made the record of tomorrow's climb. Yesterday?
Yes. No, not yesterday, but we... In the gondola, yeah. So we took the chicken route up and then we enjoyed the way down. So no cheating tomorrow. We're going to have to suffer just like everybody else. And yeah, I'm just hoping the legs will pitch and that the day will be good.
Thank you very much. Good day tomorrow. Nice recovery. Danke vielmals.
Looking at the final results of the stage, Monica Calderon, Tessa Kortekas, 3 hours and 35 minutes and 23 minutes of racing, 23 seconds of racing. And Lorza and Stratum, 6 minutes and 50 seconds down, crossing to the line to chat to the third place riders.
So, back on the podium, 3rd place after yesterday, 4th place, back in shape.
Sì, oggi siamo riusciti a fare nuovamente terze, abbiamo fatto un buon lavoro di squadra e dai, ancora 2 tappe, speriamo che vada bene.
Okay, you were pretty good together today, she said.
Yes, but the problem the last 2 days was the altitude for me, and I suffer a lot. And today the altitude was not so high, and so we can push harder, and we enjoy the trail, and so we have much fun.
Yeah, and tomorrow is something for you in that case, because we're going down.
Yes, I know. I put a red cycle on the 4th stage.
Oh, really? So this is your goal tomorrow's stage?
Tomorrow she helped me in the downhill.
Okay, great. Then good to see you tomorrow. Keep an eye on you. Thank you.
And a quick look at tomorrow's stage. It's stage 4, Val Sarrdasca, and a new gem of the area, and it is the town of Kur. unconquered finish line. And before that, we'll ascend to Strela Pass, descend through the picturesque trails, and marvel at the long Wiese Viaduct, exploring Switzerland's oldest city, Chur, for an unforgettable finish. Another one at the SPAR Swiss Epic. Adventure and history certainly await in the heart of the Swiss Alps here, and we're currently on the line at the finish line in Davos. Expected to see a stream of riders coming in from all over the world, having conquered the Alps today's stage. Stage 3, a particular set of challenges, highly varied trails as they headed on a 64-kilometer assault of the course.
So back on the finish line with the one and only Stefan Sam, following the leaders today on the e-bike, but even on the e-bike it's hard to follow them.
Yeah, absolutely. Like it's a hard effort for us as well. Not because of the uphills, they are actually quite cool, but on the downhills we have to manage the weight of the e-bike and also of the backpack with all the equipment inside. It's about 10 kilograms extra, and that pushes a lot in the corners and in the rough sections, in the steep sections. So we need good timing on braking points and stuff.
Yeah, and we're always having your insights, but you're really close to the riders. So what happened at this crash from Fadri Barandun? Because we missed it a bit.
Yeah, so for that actually you need to ask Thomas Ditch, because he was behind him. But I think it was at the exact same position where Monica Calderon crashed, and it was just like out of an awkward trail, like really where you could get no rhythm, into a more open section, but there was a tree and a root and you couldn't really see what's after it, and there's like a massive hole after it. So the front wheel just dropped and she didn't react fast enough, and then got tangled up in roots and stuff and just rolled over on her bike. So she cut open her knee a little bit. Yeah, let's see. It didn't affect her much on the last part of the stage because they were really pushing hard. But yeah, it's like that. You need to be focused 100% all the time. Otherwise, like the stupid stuff happens and it could cost your race.
Yeah, it was a dramatic scene there. Both men and women at the exact same spot. You already did a few times the Cape Epic. You won the Cape Epic. You're the camera man at the Cape Epic and the Swiss Epic. You're pretty close, so it's special to be still a part of this racing scene, even as a cameraman.
You know, absolutely. I enjoy this like to the maximum. This is some of the highlights of my year, like the Cape Epic and the Swiss Epic, because this is my passion. I love to be close to the racing. I love riding bikes, and I'm not at the fitness level as I used to be before, but like to have the feeling of the guys racing their hearts out, and I know exactly what they feel like in every situation of the race. So that's really means a lot to me, and I'm really thankful to be able to do that.
But do you enjoy more, or did enjoy more, riding as a competitor or riding as a camera guy?
For now, I for sure enjoy it more to be on the e-bike with the camera. But back in the days when you are really fit and really in shape and you can push, and if you feel nothing, it's one of the best feelings in the world. Or you feel the pain, but it doesn't matter. So being in shape is just awesome.
And you can probably a bit enjoy the countryside as well, because the trails and countryside here in around the falls at the SPAR Swiss Epic is amazing.
This is really a special place of Switzerland, and also a special place in the world, with all these trails, with the mountains, with the scenery. And of course, I look around and soak in as much as I can.
Can you already whistle like a marmot?
No, I cannot.
No? No. Okay, tomorrow we have a lot of marmots.
Yes.
Danke.
Okay. Merci.
this is not the progress of Val. This is the one that is the racer to that Samparisi. Corina. And we're going to double take Felix on Mark and the outside is Felico.
Dramatic moments that we saw this morning. We saw the riders head off on a 64-kilometer stage, 2,100 meters of climbing ahead of them. And not only that, some challenging trails, some highly varied trails, as we saw drama unfold in the women's category with what looked like an innocuous crash, but unsettling the likes of Monica Calderon and Tessa Cortacas. Calderon, the rider from Colombia, going down, and just showing that the race is absolutely at fever pitch, with all riders absolutely on their limits. And again, almost in the same fashion, the team of Ingrid and Lapunt falling and ending their chances of more glory and more podium time after the stage, being distanced by their rivals. The Italians driving the pace non-stop all day, and eventually taking incredible victory. But before that, they still had to contend. They still had to shed the group that they were in, a group of 5 teams and some favorites in the race, and notably Lucas Flockiger, who was regaining contact. We saw there regaining contact with that group, staying in contention. And Monica Calderon back on her bike and navigating carefully the trails down into Davos to make sure that she had more time on her rivals, riding with Tessa Cortacas, the Dutch woman. Fantastic performance by the Italians. Another spot on the podium for them.
Congratulations to your top 3 in the UCI women's category. Let's go for Vision Infinity Women, Vision Infinity. And your champions today, the Cannondale ISB Sport Women's Team. We now stand by for the presentation of the jersey. So, ladies and gentlemen, we now stand by for the presentation of the field jersey, and we welcome back to the podium your right here, the UCI Women's Team, Cannondale ISB Sport Women.
These are the race leaders at the UCI Women. Tessa Cortacas and Monica Calderon wearing the leaders jersey since day one. Winning stage 1, 2 and 3 in this edition of the SPAR Swiss Epic.
A clean sweep for the Colombian and the Dutch woman, and a great performance from them.
Thank you very much for another beautiful day.
Another amazing day and an achievement. Stage 3 is an achievement on its own, Dario, just to be able to do just this stage, and even more so after 2 days of racing before this. And the drama continues, certainly, with the 11th edition of the SPAR Swiss Epic taking shape for sure. And today was all about the variety of trails and more challenging climbs, more alpine scenery, and tomorrow more obstacles await. We need to stay tuned to make sure we don't miss a single thing in the Graubünden region, the home of trails. And so it's goodbye from me and goodbye from Dario, and we'll see you all tomorrow.
See you, and thank you.
André Vierholte.